So I think people are kind of excited about that. Yeah. At the same time, yeah, it's all right. I got a long ways to go before I got my point.
Russell True, Councilman. That's a voice.
Yeah, you never know.
Gentlemen, what troop do you guys study? 188. 188? Where's that from?
Western Wisconsin.
Is it a school or church?
Yeah, it's
So, where that? Very good. Awesome. Well, it's more than you see this guy. This is happens ever. And what happens been?
All right. Bye.
Bye.
You guys ready? I'll call the December 15th meeting of the West Des Moines City Council to order and invite you all to stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, please sign in.
Five members present.
Okay, Ryan, are there any changes to the agenda?
We do have a few changes. There's memos on the dais related to all these. Item 4H, interfund transfers. There was one item on the exhibit. Item number 34 has been removed. Public hearings, items 6A and 6B, both related to Davis Estates. Agenda's been updated to motion on each of those to continue those to January 5th. And then item 7C, site plan for South Branch Business Park. There's been changes to the conditions of approval on that resolution.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve the agenda as amended? Okay, so moved and seconded. Please vote.
5 yes.
Okay, moving on to the oath of office. Okay, Ryan, you're going to swear me in, and then I'm going to swear them in?
Yep, that's how it
Okay.
is.
What do I need to sign on this? Just the one space here?
Is that yours?
Yeah.
Yeah, just the blank
All right,
line. You
all
want
right.
to sign that?
I'm all alone flying solo.
Kevin's the only one that's got love in the room tonight.
Oh, I even brought it for you. All right.
Raise your right hand, repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Russ Trimble,
Solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge all the duties
discharge all the duties
of the office of mayor
of the office of mayor
in the city of West Des Moines, Iowa,
in the city of West Des Moines, Iowa,
as now or hereafter required by law.
as now or hereafter required by law. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. We have a certificate of election to present to you,
Okay.
and all the others are here too.
All right.
So there you are.
Thank you very much. Yeah, appreciate that. All right,
So
bring
I
this
can
up
put it in the
here.
back.
Okay, sounds good. All right, we're gonna do these all individually. Let me grab the first one. Okay. First one we're gonna do is Renee Harden. Glasses on the side, quick.
Did you get a picture, Kevin?
I'll get your picture, you bet.
It does. Okay, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name,
I, Renee Hardman,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of Iowa,
of the State of Iowa,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
and I will faithfully and impartially,
to the best of my ability,
to my ability,
discharge all of the duties
discharge all of the duties
of the office
of the office
of at-large council member
at-large council member
in the city
in the city
of West Des Moines,
of West Des Moines,
Iowa, as now
as now
or hereafter
or hereafter
required by law.
required by law.
Congratulations. Bring it in. Okay, Councilman Trevilian.
Oh, do I get my plaque or?
Yes, you get your plaque. Plaque for you.
Okay, I would like a picture with that.
You want a picture? All right, let's do it. And then we'll do Councilman Trevilian.
Cindy says she'll take it.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. Councilman
Mr. Trevilian.
That one's yours. I think
Okay,
those.
here you go.
This is Kevin's. Let me just sign this, Kevin.
Thank you.
Okay, my friend. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name,
I, Kevin Trevilian,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of Iowa,
of the State of Iowa,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge all the duties
discharge all of the duties
of the office
of the office
of First Ward Council Member
of First Ward Council Member
in the city of West Des Moines, Iowa,
in the city of West Des Moines, Iowa,
as now
as now
or hereafter
or hereafter
required by law.
required by law.
Congratulations. Sign that and take it back. Certificate as well. And do you want to have family come up? Take a picture with you and your family?
Yeah.
Hold on, let me get your glasses on.
Then him and Cindy, you want to take, yeah.
If he comes, we'll get it.
Is he holding his plaque? Okay, you got a plaque? You got it. Okay. Duck, duck, duck.
Okay.
There you go.
Last but not least, Doug Lotz.
That's right.
Okay, Councilman, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name,
Doug Lopes,
do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support
I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of Iowa,
of the State of Iowa,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge all the duties
discharge all of the duties
of the office
of the office
of Third Ward Council Member
of Third Ward Council Member
in the city
in the city
of West Des Moines, Iowa,
of Des Moines, Iowa,
as now
is now
or hereafter
hereafter
required by law.
required by law.
Congratulations.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Let's do it. Anybody here for you or no?
No.
Okay, so just turn on.
They're making soup tonight, so.
Cindy, you wanna grab?
Maybe Cindy will take it. Oh, and then your son's here. You
Yeah.
want to do another one?
Yeah, we'll do another one.
Move out of the way. You want to be in their picture.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah. Can we get another picture with Kevin's son and their son in it?
All right, move over this way so you can be able to do it. This. Ready? My kids tell me not to count. I guess that's empty apparently.
Doing.
All right.
And congratulations to you, Mayor.
All right. Congratulations to everybody. Certainly not easy putting your name on the ballot and running for office, and everybody worked really hard, so congratulations to all. All right. With that, we are going to move on to item 2, Citizens Forum. Anybody that would like to address the council on any item that is not either part of public hearings or new business, why don't you come on up to the podium, give us your name and address for the record. We ask that you keep it civil and respectful into 5 minutes or under. All right, come on up. We'll do the chamber first, and then we'll go online after that. Right here to the podium if you want. All right, start off with your name and address for the record, and then you've got 5 minutes.
Hi, my name is Holly Anderson. My address is 205 27th Street, West Des Moines, Iowa, so I'm a resident here.
Okay, go ahead, Holly. Thanks for being here.
Hi, I emailed the council on November 3rd, so I know it's a busy time, it's all switching over. I emailed about pausing the construction of the 6th data center being built in West Des Moines. And I'm here in person tonight to continue to advocate for that. I would have advocated sooner had I learned more about data centers, but starting around that time that I emailed was when I first was finding out more information about them. And the more information that I found out recently and more is coming out, continuing to come out on them, the more I think it's a time-pressing manner to speak up about it and for our community to really consider and pause and reflect on this. And I think maybe we can just push a pause on the data center construction for now, till we can find out and be aware of all the environmental impacts it will have both in the present and in the future. And what we don't want is to have something come in and then discover down the road, I mean, it's just starting to come out, there's been rare cancers developed around some of the data centers that have been around. We don't want another cancer-causing agent here in Iowa. We already have. We're already number 2 in the state for cancer. Our biodiversity is at a loss globally. And data centers produce a lot of sound and light pollution in addition to their water usage and their electricity, their energy usage. They use a lot. It's varying. I know that they're working on making it better, but it's not quite there yet, I don't think. And if we're putting something in that's going to be taking up a large portion of land, I think that we should make sure that it is the best idea for West Des Moines. And we have the opportunity here as a local, community here. We have the opportunity to advocate what's best for our community, what's best for our current residents here, and what will be best for the residents in the future, our kids who are growing up here. We don't want to leave them with a mess. And if we look at technology, I'm older, so years ago, about 25 years ago, technology's changed since then. It's changing rapidly. Who is to say that these data centers will not be obsolete within a certain amount of years? And what are we going to do with those data centers in the future if they prove to be obsolete? There are studies coming out now that are showing that there's not as good of a return on AI that there was thought to be. And so I think until we can see more of these things, that's actually going to be a growth thing, that's actually going to be helpful, that the pros are going to outweigh the cons, which I'm not sure that they are right now. According to everything I've looked at, there's not good balance. The cons are outweighing the pros right now. And I think we need to pause and wait until we can collect more data on it to see if it's really worth moving forward on. I know that there's the potential for a lot of revenue for West Des Moines, but I think that we need to consider residents and our land here for West Des Moines. We need to take that into consideration and put a big weight on that. We want this to be a place where people want to continue to live into the future, and we don't want to be putting something in place that will be harmful. Okay. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Okay, anybody else for Citizens Forum in the chamber before I go online? All right, come on up, Steve.
Steve Freevert, Executive Director of the Historic Valley Junction Foundation. Again, I want to applaud the work of Gary Rank's Public Services crew. They did a phenomenal job cleaning up after yet another snowfall. I live on 5th Street, so I get to see all the action late at night, and it's wonderful. It's to be commended, and the business community down there very much appreciates it. At this point, we are watching the weather for our last Jingle in the Junction this Thursday. Stay tuned. If it's good, we will go forward. And if it's not, we will announce if there's any kind of cancellation. Keep your fingers crossed. Thanks so much.
Sounds good. Thanks so much. Okay, anybody else for Citizens Forum in the council chambers before I go online? Okay, seeing nobody else in the chamber, we'll go online. Is there anybody online for Citizens Forum? Hit *6 to unmute yourself, *6. How's it going, Amy? Go ahead and give us your name and address for the record, and we'll give you 5 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you so much. How's it going?
Not too bad, not too bad.
Okay. All right. Mr. Mayor, is the city manager, Tom Haddon, there?
The city manager, Tom Haddon, is here. Amy, I'm going to remind you to, I'm just going to
can't
remind you,
see them.
Amy, I haven't started your time yet. We just got to keep it civil and respectful. I don't want to have a
can't
bunch
see
of,
them at all.
I just want to make sure we don't have a bunch of false allegations thrown out, so.
I can't see him. Is there any
Sure.
law enforcement in the room?
Yes, there always is.
Okay, okay, is Greta Truman there?
Yes, she is.
Okay, great. I just have a few subjects to cover, so please don't violate my First Amendment right just because maybe you might not like what I have to say.
We never do, Amy.
Okay, all right, thank you. I would like City Hall to turn on comments for the official West Des Moines City Hall government YouTube channel. In essence, a blanket off switch for all comments infringes on the public's right to engage with their government online by turning it off. This is called censorship, and you may be blocking valid criticism and violating First Amendment rights. Okay. West Des Moines City Hall widen Mill Civic Parkway bigger than Pacific Coast Highway in California. And now traffic is speeding on Mill Civic Parkway even faster. So they're speeding and then they're speeding even faster to pass each other. Please lower the speed limit to 35 miles per hour. I almost got ran over today. Okay, Iowa has a strong veterans preference law, Iowa Code Chapter 35C, that gives eligible, honorably discharged veterans advantages in the public sector over other applicants. And I didn't know if your human resources or resources department knew about that. And so I just wanted to remind them. Okay. Mr. Haddon, I know that you would be interested in this. I tried to call you today and got voicemail that says to call Hannah Gook. So then I called the number given for Hannah Gook. And then the voicemail for Hannah says it belongs to Molly Howard and she doesn't answer either. So who is Hannah Gook, and does she still work there, or does Molly answer your phone, or do both of them? It's confusing. I look forward to that being worked out on your voicemail. A couple of weeks ago, your voicemail said that you would be out of the office until like August 19th or something like that. And so, you know, your voicemail doesn't get updated by your crew very often. And also, I made a mistake last week. I said that City Manager Tom Haddon gets paid $230,000 a year. It's actually $260,000. So that's a $30,000 difference from 23 to 24. And I don't think anybody that works for City Hall deserves a pay raise. And also, I would like to place a restraining order on Renee Hardman for inciting public hostility against me last week. She is dangerous. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Amy. Is there anybody else online for Citizens Forum? Well, that's too bad. Okay, citizens forum is closed. We will now move on to item 3, mayor, council, manager report, other entities update. And I will start down to my right with city manager Tom Haddon.
Yeah, I just want to start with we talked about this year's I guess we could call it normal, or how it used to be for snowfall in Iowa. But we're receiving a number of snowfalls, and I can tell you our public services and police department have to work together, are doing a great job. The snow is not just they get in their trucks and go. They're doing a lot of planning. If the temperatures are right on the pavement, if you see the treatments going forward. So there's a lot of science involved. There's temperatures, and if it's too cold, the material doesn't work. So they do a great job, and I was watching them yesterday on Mills Civic. They look like a ballet out there with these big trucks cleaning off Mills Civic and doing a great job in getting our pavement back to normal as we can. So I just wanted to give them a shout out. Thank you.
No doubt they do an awesome job at all hours of the day, night, and make sure that it's safe for us to drive around. So very much appreciated. Gary Rank and the crew doing an excellent job. All right, moving on to Councilman Greg Hudson.
Yeah, Tom, I want to agree with you on that. And Mr. Mayor, Gary, you and your team for the past several weeks have been out there late at night, early in the morning doing what needs to be done. So be sure to thank them on our behalf. A couple other things, Renee and Russ, Kevin, Doug, congratulations on your swearing in. And I've worked with you three for 6 years. Doug, I've worked with you for the last 4. And I look forward to working with you in the future as well. And I did want to say, everybody, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and I hope you have a wonderful New Year. We'll see you in 2026. I'm not leaving now. I'm just saying that's when our next city council meeting is.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman McKinney.
Nothing at this time, Mayor.
All right, Councilwoman Hardman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and team. A couple of things. It's been a challenging weekend this weekend with the violence and everything that's been happening. So I take a moment to pause to reflect upon what happened to the Jewish community in Australia, what happened at Brown University. And, it just makes me sad that at this time of season when Hanukkah is being celebrated, maybe Christmas for the Brown students that lost their lives, that there's going to be some empty chairs around the Christmas table this year for families. And so my heart is heavy. I pray and hope that all of us lift up these families in their mourning, regardless of our religion, their lives, and their people and their human beings. And so I just want to ask everybody to pray and to lift up perfect strangers to maybe us, but human beings to everyone else. I also like to,
Go ahead.
Okay. I'd like to also lift up Gary and the police department as well for all of the work that they have done with the streets. And I'm going to tell a personal story. A week and a half or so, Gary, I was in Altoona at a dinner at Prairie Meadows. And I'm telling you, I did not think that I could make it home safely. It was so bad that night after the banquet. But I knew the minute that I entered West Des Moines. I knew the minute I entered West Des Moines. And I could tell the difference. And so I want to thank you and your team for really getting out there ahead of the storms, being very proactive, laying down stuff on the streets to make them a little bit more drivable and safe. So West Des Moines has a phenomenal thing going on. And thank you for your leadership and your team that's out there doing it at all hours of the night. I'd like to also congratulate one of our colleagues, Audrey Kennis, who, that's where I was at Prairie Meadows that night, trying to get to a banquet where she was honored. She was honored for her selfless commitment to the community. She was honored to her sense of fairness and justice for all. And you guys, she gave a speech that was just absolutely incredible. And it was so nicely spoken and talked about West Des Moines and talked about just her commitment to helping folks and being the voice for individuals. So, Tom, I just want to congratulate Audrey on that. You would have been very proud. It was a wonderful occasion where she was showcased. She could not hardly get out of the room because everybody was talking to her or walked with her. So that's what I'd like to offer tonight. I don't think I'll dignify the comments that I heard tonight. I don't think they're even worthy of that. So I'm going to conclude at this moment in time.
Sounds good to me. Okay, Councilman Trevilian.
I just want to say thank you to the residents of West Des Moines for electing me to another term on West Des Moines City Council. This will be my 5th term on City Council. Russ and I started at the same time. He has moved up to mayor now, but Russ, we've seen a lot over these 16 years, and I know we're going to see a lot of other great things over these next 4. So it's been an honor to work with you and this entire council and city staff. So I just want to say thank you to the residents, and if you need me, give me a call.
Thank you, Councilman. You know, I would echo your comments. It's, you know, we came in here together back in 2009. 2010 was our first year. We started working on this thing called the comprehensive plan. And we had regular meetings that went till, you know, I don't know, 9, 10 o'clock. Then we did the comprehensive plan. We did executive sessions, and we were regularly ending at about midnight. And I leaned over to Mayor Gare and I said, "Is this how this goes?" And he said, "Not usually, but we have the comprehensive plan." We had a lot of long nights that first year, but it's been an honor to serve with you and to get to know you and your family very well. And, you know, I sit here and look at this young man sitting in the front. He wasn't quite that big when you first got elected.
Nor were your kids.
No, it's amazing. So it's a huge honor. Appreciate everybody that went out and participated in the process, voted for me. It is the greatest honor of my life to serve as the mayor of this city. So thank you so much for your comments. All right, Councilman Lotz.
2 quick things. I want, there's 4 young scouts in the back. Would you guys please stand up, and I want to recognize them for coming. They're working on a scout merit badge.
Nice,
So
nice.
thank you for coming.
Nice. 4 or 5 for sitting in this meeting.
Thanks for coming, you guys. The second thing I want to say is I've never been prouder to serve with 5 people as I am of you guys. I'm thankful to get another 4 years to do this. You're all awesome in your own ways, and it's been the honor of a lifetime, and I'm excited to continue to serve. I would like to tell a funny story about the mayor. Does anybody want to hear that? I'll be really quick. The first time I ever met the mayor, before he was even elected to city council, he was running for office. He knocked on my door and woke me up from a nap on Saturday afternoon, and I didn't like him very much then, but I like him a lot now, so thank you, Your Honor.
I didn't get a vote in either one, by either Lotz that year. I remember that distinctly. So, thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Hardman.
Yeah, I too want to thank everybody for their vote of confidence and electing me for my 3rd seat. While I am on a different journey, and I'll wait for remarks later because we don't know how that journey will end. But regardless of what happens, I will still continue to serve the constituents and the citizens of West Des Moines. This has been a public service of a lifetime. Serving with each of you. Each of you taught me various things about what it is to be a sitting council woman. And I am appreciative of what I've learned and what I've served, and more later, but just kind of in a journey of doing something different, but excited to still serve West Des Moines, whatever capacity that might be.
Okay, thank you, Councilwoman. All right, moving on to item 4, consent agenda. Are there any items that any council person would like to have pulled and voted on separately? Otherwise, I would take a motion to move the consent agenda as distributed.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Please vote.
5 yes.
Okay, item 5, old business. Item 5A, Cedar Ridge, Lot 28, 9217 Cedar Ridge Drive. Amend the zoning map to establish single-family residential zoning. Zachary and Haley Sims We've got an ordinance amendment for approval of the second reading, waive the third reading, adoption, final form. There are no outstanding issues and no change from the previous reading, which was adopted unanimously by the council at our last meeting.
Move consideration of second reading.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, please vote.
Five yes, an ordinance amending the official zoning map of the city of West Des Moines, Iowa, 2024 by amending Title IX zoning, Chapter 4 zoning districts and maps.
Move approval of the second reading.
Second.
Please vote.
Five yes.
Move to waive the third reading and adopt in final form.
Second.
All right, please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 5B, Jordan West, 270 Jordan Creek Parkway, amend the Jordan West specific plan ordinance to reduce the building setbacks required along the southwest property line from 80 feet to 50 feet. Ryan Companies USA Inc., or US Inc. We've once again got an ordinance amendment for approval, the second reading, waiver the third reading, adoption, final form. There are no outstanding issues and no changes from the previous reading, which was adopted unanimously by the council at our last meeting.
Motion to consider second reading.
Is there a second? Okay, it's been moved and second. Is there any discussion? All right, seeing none, please vote.
Five yes, an ordinance amending the city code of the city of West Des Moines, Iowa, 2024, and the Jordan West specific plan ordinance numbers 1749, 2097, 2384, and 2554 pertaining to plan unit development district regulations and guidelines.
Motion to approve the second reading.
Please vote.
Five yes.
Motion to waive the third reading and adopt in final form.
Please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 5C, ordinance amendment, amend Title II, Boards and Commissions, Chapter 2, Board of Adjustment, Section 4, jurisdiction powers by repealing and replacing Chapter 2, Section 4, jurisdiction powers in its entirety. We have once again got an ordinance amendment for approval of the second reading, waiver the third, adoption, final form. There are no outstanding issues, no changes from the previous reading, which was adopted unanimously by the council at our last meeting.
Move consideration of second reading.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, please vote.
Five yes, an ordinance amending the city code of the city of West Des Moines, Iowa, 2024 by amending Title II, Boards and Commissions, Chapter 2, Board of Adjustment, Section 4, jurisdiction powers by repealing and replacing Section 4.
Move approval of second reading.
Second.
Please vote.
Five yes.
Move waiver of the third reading and adopt in final form.
Second.
All right, please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 5D, Amendment City Code, Title 4, Health and Safety Regulations, Chapter 3, Fire Code. Adopt the International Fire Code 2024 edition with local amendments, repeal the International Fire Code 2021 edition with local amendments. We've got, once again, an ordinance amendment for approval of the second reading, waiver the third, and adoption final form. There are no outstanding issues and no changes from the previous reading, which was adopted unanimously by the council at our last meeting. Somebody want to move
Motion consider
consideration?
second reading.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, please vote.
Five yes, an ordinance amending the city code of the city of West Des Moines, Iowa, 2024 by repealing Title 4 Health and Safety Regulations, Chapter 3 Fire Code, and in lieu thereof, adopting the 2024 edition of the International Fire Code.
Motion to approve the second reading.
Second.
Please vote.
Five yes.
Motion to waive that third reading and adopt in final form.
Second.
Please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 5E, Amendment City Code, Title 6, Motor Vehicles and Traffic, Chapter 5G, Rules of the Road, Miscellaneous Rules, Section 10, General Traffic Regulations to comply with Iowa Code, Section 321.238. We have once again got an ordinance amendment for approval of the second reading, waiver of the third, adoption of final form. There are no outstanding issues and no changes from the previous reading, which was adopted unanimously by the council at our last meeting.
Move consideration of the second reading.
Second.
Okay, it's a move and a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
Five yes, an ordinance amending the city code of the city of West Des Moines, Iowa, 2024 by amending Title 6 Motor Vehicles and Traffic, Chapter 5G, Rules of the Road, Miscellaneous Rules.
Move approval of the second reading.
Second.
Please vote.
Five yes.
Move to waive the third reading and adopt in final form.
Second.
Please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 5F, repeal of Sugar Creek Stormwater Connection Fee District, Title 7, Chapter 8, Article H-1. We've got an ordinance amendment for approval, second reading, waive the third reading, adoption in final form. There are no outstanding issues and no changes from the previous reading, which was adopted unanimously by the council at our last meeting.
Move consideration, second reading.
Second.
Okay, it's moved and second. Is there any discussion? Okay, please vote.
Five yes, an ordinance amending the City Code of the City of West Des Moines, Iowa, 2024, Title 7, Chapter 8 by repealing Article H1, Sugar Creek Stormwater Connection Fee District.
Motion for approval, second reading.
Second.
Please vote.
Five yes.
Motion to waive the third reading and adopt in final form.
Second.
Please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 5G, approval of professional service agreement, Jamie Hurd Amphitheater Restroom. We've got a motion for approval of the professional service agreement with OPN Architects for design and construction administration of restrooms at the Jamie Hurd Amphitheater, and there are no outstanding issues.
move.
Okay.
Second.
So moved and seconded. I would also point out this was approved unanimously by the Public Services City Council Subcommittee. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Councilman.
All right, although I am 100% in favor of restrooms at the amphitheater, and I have advocated for a long time, and I'm going to continue to do it at least for the next 4 years, that we need restrooms in all of our parks, whether it's a neighborhood park, a regional park, whatever. My concern is, though, the cost of these restrooms. I don't know how we come up with, $750,000 for a restroom down in Railroad Park, and I questioned it then. And Valley View, according to this one, says that the restroom portion was around $550,000. So I would strongly urge staff to look at the restrooms that Polk County installed out at Browns Woods, which is a prefab building that has toilet and sink in it. And it's basically just planted there and that's it. I don't know why we need such fancy restrooms. We need a roof, walls, and doors that lock, and flushing toilets.
And a sink to wash your hands.
And a sink to wash your hands. You're right. That's it. We don't need all this real fancy stuff for $750,000 bathroom. So I would urge staff, and Tom, that's ultimately at your level as well, to find a way to, use what Polk County used, because they work just fine. And it's all we need.
Okay.
I agree with Councilman Trevilian, by the way. I think if we can look into it to lower costs, I agree wholeheartedly.
I do as well, and maybe that's something we can take up at F&A. I don't know, to examine the cost of these things, but
Yeah,
we do need restrooms, but they're expensive.
I couldn't agree more. At a point in time where we talk about affordable housing, we're going to build a restroom, we budgeted up for $870,000 is not something I can support.
Yeah.
I also take a look at City Hall here. Most folks that are going to go to the amphitheater are going to park at City Hall. And they're going to walk right by this building where we have restrooms. And I can appreciate how we need to ensure appropriate security protocols are in place. I think we can do that for a lot less than spending this kind of money here. I appreciate Ryan sharing me with the information. I appreciate this council deferring 2 weeks so I could get some information. But I agree with Kevin's comments. Thank you.
I have a question. Is it a process where we've gotten 2 to 3 bids, or?
Not yet.
I think we've just
I mean,
got
it hasn't been
an
bidded out
estimate
yet,
of-
right?
Estimate of probable cost.
Oh,
We're
okay.
looking at doing, well, not even that. We're looking at doing a design here.
Okay.
And then I think we already have probably an estimate of probable cost based on some of the last couple restrooms that we've done.
Okay.
Where inflation has caused that amount to go up. So I think what staff is saying, based on very similar bathrooms that we've built in the past, this is what we can expect for these to cost. But they're looking at going out. We're approving tonight the design I believe, of this restroom. The question that I have as mayor is if you guys are on board with what Kevin's talking about, taking a look at a different design, I mean, is this is, I guess, direction to OPN at this point in time for design of the bathroom?
I'll speak for myself, Your Honor. I sure would like to do $112,000 to design a bathroom. That's a great business to me.
What is that?
Well, I think what we need to look at is, I think it's wise to take a look at this. If there's another design that these guys can come up with that's reasonable and accommodating to our citizens, then let's take a look at that. Maybe it costs less. But if it doesn't, and it comes back and, the cost of this thing is $750,000, and we've looked at every single piece of this, then at some point in time, it's the cost of doing business, and we got to make a decision as to whether or not restrooms up here are something that you all as a council and that we as staff want to push. I think the reason that it's here today is that we've got really hardworking Parks and Rec staff that are working nights and weekends. They're staffing the Jamie Hurd Amphitheater, and they're getting complaints from people that are there on a pretty regular basis that we don't have any modern-day facilities for use when they're there with their families trying to enjoy a concert. So I think we also pride ourselves on, listening to our input and feedback from residents and taking that into account when making decisions. So I'm all for it. Let's look at it. Let's see if the if OPN architects can come up with something that's more simple in design. And I don't think that we're trying to come up with a Taj Mahal bathroom. But
Your Honor, I think what's up for a vote today is the expense for the design, if I read this right.
right, for the architect to.
For the architect to
design.
do it. And I want a restroom at the Jamie Hurd Amphitheater as well, right out here. We need it. I think the thing that we should take up is we should more closely examine what costs $112,000 to build a restroom. Yeah, just to do the design before we ever pour a yard of concrete out there. And I think that's something we can look at FNA.
I think we could do it at staff level and bring you back some regular, it's a whole difference of what level of restroom. One's nicer. And if you just want to go with a simple,
Well, and maybe it's got to be 4 stalls for, on both sides or
Right.
something. And maybe there's something that's not here. It's hard for me to.
I understand. I've always said the reason restrooms are more expensive is because they got plumbing and they got just aspects of them that are just costlier to do. And then also when projects are smaller, the percentage of cost of professional services are higher as a percentage. So that's why it seems like that. But this isn't like, this is common if you do a custom-made bathroom. Now, if you do like Kevin's talking about, there could be some savings. It's not aesthetically going to look as good, but we can certainly look at that and say this is another option of an estimated, cost that would be lower.
I just find it hard to believe that our residents are going to be so concerned about the look of it rather than the function of it. I mean, nobody wants to use a Kaibo as the only facility at the amphitheater, at a neighborhood park, whatever it might be. But again, if it works for
understand.
Polk County, I don't know why it won't work for West Des Moines. And I voiced this when we were doing the bathrooms down in Railroad Park. I mean, I just don't know why they need to be that fancy. So I would encourage us to talk with Polk County, find out what vendor they're using and get a cost of those because they work. And again, it's my understanding, Ryan, that we've already got sewer and water out here where this is going to be placed, right?
Electrical and water. Yep.
Electrical water.
Yep.
Okay. So we've got a sewer line that we've got to put in. So again, by already having the electric and water out there, that substantially reduces the cost of what a bathroom otherwise would cost.
Yep.
I don't think we need something that's super, super fancy.
No, and I would say, looking at what we have down at Railroad Park, I think it's pretty standard, right? It's nothing.
I beg to
too
differ
nice?
on that one.
Okay.
Have you been to the ones out at
Yeah.
Brownswoods?
Yep. And I would just say.
What's
that
wrong with them? What's wrong with the
It's
one we
just-
got down at Legion Park?
There's nothing wrong with them. It's just a prefab compared to what we're looking at here. I got the direction that we need to look at all options. I think with the event space that we have here, one option is that we need to look at the family restroom part of it. When you have young families that need a changing table and things like that, those are things that we need to consider when we're hosting events out here. If you're planning, if you want to do a wedding or wedding reception out here, that is one question we get is what kind of restrooms do you have? And a lot of people turn us away because we have portable restrooms right now. So I
get
appreciate
that.
this consideration and we will work, if approved, we will work with OPN and give them the direction to look at all possible ways to drive this cost down.
I think we're trying to find a nice balance here because I think a lot of us do want some restrooms out there. And I am supportive of this particular item. That's why I made the motion, or maybe Renee made the motion, I seconded. But I'm supportive of this going forward because it does cost quite a bit to do this. Now I think maybe it's a little bit more of an unexpected expense, but prices have just gone up over the last 5 years, even since we made the pavilion down, or at least the restroom down in Valley Junction. To that end, Ryan, is it of your opinion that this is a pretty standard cost for a restroom? It might not be a prefabricated thing, but considering the number of stalls at Browns Woods versus the number of stalls here, that would be different. The size here and the necessity for some other amenity, not amenities, but I mean, it's a bathroom, but considering what you just said about families being here way more than out there, I think there's some extra considerations to be made.
Yep. Again, I think a very comparable one is what we'd have down at Railroad Park. And that cost was just over $600,000 4 years ago. So if you take inflation 5% the last couple of years, you're right around that 700,000 mark. That's a conservative number. Obviously, we hope that bids would come in good and that we're at a lower cost. But we don't want to give you a lower number and then come back and say we need $250,000, $300,000 more dollars to complete this project.
I think my question resolves around, are most of these restrooms like the
Railroad.
railroad one we were talking about, aren't they fairly similar? Like, to me, what I'm worried about is the architect's just going to plop down another plan and charge us $112,000, and it's the same thing. Now, is there unique design characteristics here that take all those hours?
The only thought was that we wanted to tie in some of the aesthetics to the structure of the amphitheater itself. So, I mean, I think they can be pretty standard, but the other thing that we wanted to look at is just additional storage. But again, if we're trying to lower the costs, I don't think we're going to get additional storage on this facility. But we're lacking storage over there.
Well, I didn't see how many square feet this facility is going to be.
We don't have that.
Yeah.
And that's what we got to pay the $112,000 for.
Correct.
So to expand on that, you're saying that part of this $112,000 is to design something that's got architectural characteristics of the amphitheater.
That is our hope.
And I just struggle with, why is that needed? I mean,
Well, I think we want to have the same standards that we would hold the private sector to when doing development. That's one thing I know we have done that's caused some of our costs to go maybe a little bit higher, because if we're going to require the private sector to do a building or development with certain standards, we've got to abide by those standards. Now, I don't know that there's going to be a private sector developer that's going to plop down a private bathroom in the middle of a city park, but I think that's the answer to the standards. We've got to adhere to the same standards. Like when doing the Recplex, we talked about that. When doing the Public Works facility, we talked about doing that. We don't want a Taj Mahal, but if we're asking the private sector to do a certain level of development, we can't ask for that and then do a lesser standard. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like we're missing some information. Like, I'm not talking about the standard thing. I'm honed in on the $112,000, and I'm thinking that's a lot of hours and a nice high rate. And architects certainly deserve that, but I don't know that this restroom's going to take. I'm thinking about my own consulting gigs in the past. It's not going to take 12 weeks to design this bathroom.
again, I would.
I can't believe
I
it
would
wouldn't.
question what vendor the county's using and what the cost of those are, and do they have a prefab that's got the family part of it, as well as individual men and women. So again, I think it's almost kind of the cart before the horse.
All right, Councilwoman Hardman.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to, I think it's time to flush the toilet and kind of make a decision on where we're at here. And I am hearing that we want to try to lower cost. I'm hearing that F&A can look into this. I'm hearing Ryan, who also understands the cost of, if we had a bathroom that was 600,000 4 years ago, my goodness, 700,000 seems a little logical. I'd like to see whether this can go to F&A for more consideration and allow Ryan to talk with the professional services agreement to see whether there's a little give and take. Otherwise, I think we're going to be talking about this all night. I think we're ready to move this, to have Ryan have more deeper dive discussions on all the options that have been presented. You presented an option, and let's move forward.
Ryan, are there any timeline considerations for you here?
No, we wanted to get it approved and start working with the architects, and that construction would start after the amphitheater season, so fall of 2026, and then in hopes that it would be ready to go for summer 2027, so.
Well, I don't know that we even need to bring it to F&A. I mean, I think we could probably have the architect put together different plans, maybe the most economical plan you can, looking at the Polk County building as an example, and then something that maybe fits in with what you were looking at doing, and then you can bring that back here and the council can make a decision as to what they want to do.
Yeah, I mean, this is, again, for the design. The construction is going to come up in the CIP for the upcoming fiscal year. So we should have, that's what we're working towards. So you still have to approve the construction of this project in
And
the
so you've
upcoming
got your,
CIP fiscal year.
you've got your marching orders on the design, come up with a couple different alternatives, and we'll go from there.
So I think,
We got
I
a
think
motion in a
we,
second. Can we figure this out and move on?
Yeah, let's, all right.
But just to clarify, though, this is a motion to approve an expenditure of $112,270 for the design.
The design.
Yes.
There is a point of order, and that this is a lump sum contract. So if we're going to do the things you're saying, Ryan, I think we need to sit down with the architect and talk about scope of services.
That's right.
So do you want us to defer on
Because
this
they would
right
get
now,
this
Tom?
regardless, and that doesn't mean they're going to say, if, they would look at that as a change of scope if we said, we also want you to do this, right?
That's right.
I think
Okay.
that's what we should, I hate to
Do
keep.
you want to
but-
defer? Should we defer?
Yeah, I think we defer because we got to get to talk to them directly about the contract, we've heard what you're saying, so I think
Okay.
we just got to get the contract right, so it allows that to happen.
Who made the second?
I made the motion.
You made the motion?
I made the
You
second.
made
Made the second.
So you withdraw your second?
I will withdraw my second.
Withdraw your motion?
I withdraw my motion.
Okay, does somebody
I
want
make a
move that we
motion to defer
Second.
Okay,
for indefinitely until we come back to us.
Ready to come back.
I want to make it clear that I do believe that we need to have a design that makes sense for that space. I want to make it clear that I think the residents would like a permanent bathroom there that does not look out of place. But at the same time, I think at the same time, we can cut costs when we can. And so
yep. Okay,
go forward with this way.
we have a motion and a second. Please vote.
But these scouts didn't realize what they were coming to tonight, huh?
Man,
Lots of
yeah,
bathrooms.
Mom, they
guys.
talked about
yes.
bathrooms
They're probably going to
forever.
say, why are they talking about,
Wow,
why don't they
Okay.
just get porta potties is what they're probably saying.
unbelievable.
I don't want them.
Except for that anybody that's gone in a porta potty realizes why we're talking about bathrooms.
Yes,
You guys,
absolutely.
I don't care. I want a nice bathroom.
I
at the
agree.
amphitheater,
I agree.
so, I did not, they're having weddings there and
I
different
agree.
things here.
Got to do something that fits. You don't want an Armani suit with Docksiders. Okay, moving on to item 6, public hearings.
They are leaving now.
All right. They've had enough for the
You had
bathroom
enough of
talk.
bathrooms?
Enough for one evening.
I swear
Thank you
we
all
talk
for being
about
here.
other topics,
Thank you
but
all.
That's the
I
kind of
promise
sexy
you.
stuff we talk about here, bathrooms. Okay, item 6, 6A. I believe this one has been, this one's been withdrawn, is that correct?
We need a motion to continue.
Motion to
Motion to withdraw?
Second.
Continue,
To continue.
Continue.
Motion to
January
continue.
5th.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Please vote.
5 yes.
Okay. Item 6B, we need a motion.
Motion to continue.
That as well.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 6C, we're being asked to continue.
Motion to
the public
continue.
hearing.
Second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 6D, we're being asked to do a motion to withdraw.
Motion to withdraw.
Amendment.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 6E is being recommended to be withdrawn.
Motion to withdraw.
Second.
Okay, please vote.
Five yes.
All right, back to the regular program. Item 6F, this is a time and a place for a public hearing to consider amendment to City Code Title 9 zoning, Chapter 7 setback and bulk density regulations, modify regulations pertaining to uncovered decks in the front yard, initiated by the City of West Des Moines. Ryan, would you please read the date the notice was published?
November 28th, 2025 in the Des Moines Register.
And have we received any written comments to this hearing?
The Plan and Zoning Commission, by a vote of 6 yes with 1 absent, adopted a resolution recommending approval of the ordinance amendment.
Okay, anybody in the audience who would like to address council at item 6F, please come to the podium, give us your name and address for the record. Anybody online, please hit *6 to unmute yourself and do the same. Is there anybody in the chamber or online that would like to address the council on item 6F? Okay, hearing and seeing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed. We've got an ordinance amendment for approval of the first reading, and there are no outstanding issues.
Move consideration of the first reading.
Second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
Five yes, an ordinance amending the City Code of the City of West Des Moines, Iowa, 2024, Title 9 zoning, Chapter 7 setback and bulk density regulation pertaining to allowance of uncovered decks in the front yard.
Move approval of the first reading.
Second.
Please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 6G, this is a time and a place for a public hearing to consider amendment City Code Title 9 zoning, Chapter 6 Commercial Office Industrial Zoning District, modify regulations pertaining to SIC 58, eating and drinking places in the Professional Commerce Park Zoning District, initiated by Serenity Couture Salon and Spa. Ryan, would you please read the date the notice was published?
November 28th, 2025 in the Des Moines Register.
And have we received any written comments to this hearing?
The Plan and Zoning Commission, by a vote of 6 yes with 1 absent, adopted a resolution recommending approval of the ordinance amendment.
Okay, anybody in the audience who would like to address council on item 6G, please come to the podium, give us your name and address for the record. Anybody online, hit *6 to unmute yourself and do the same. Is there anybody either in the chamber or online that would like to address the council on this item? Okay, seeing no motion in the chamber and hearing nothing from the phones, I'm going to declare the public hearing closed. We've got an ordinance amendment for approval of the first reading. There are no outstanding issues.
Motion to consider the first reading.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, please vote.
Five yes, an ordinance amending the City Code of the City of West Des Moines, Iowa, 2024, Title 9 zoning, Chapter 6 Commercial Office and Industrial Zoning District pertaining to the allowance of bar restaurant Class 2 and bar no drive-through as a permitted and permitted conditional use in the Professional Commerce Park Zoning District.
Motion to approve reading number 1.
Second.
Okay, please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, moving on to item 6H. This is a time and a place for a public hearing to consider Global Aviation southeast corner of Cascade Avenue and South 78th Street, vacation of 172 square feet of South 78th Street right-of-way initiated by Shojat Properties, Inc. Ryan, would you please read the date the notice was published?
November 28th, 2025 in the Des Moines Register.
And have received any written comments to this hearing?
Plan and Zoning Commission, by a vote of 6 yes with 1 absent, adopted a resolution recommending approval of the vacation request.
Okay, anybody in the audience who would like to address the council on item 6H, please come to the podium, give us your name and address for the record. Anybody online, hit *6 to unmute yourself and do the same. Would anybody like to address the council on this item? Okay, once again, hearing and seeing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed. We've got an ordinance amendment for approval of the first reading to vacate city property, and there are no outstanding issues.
Motion to consider the first reading.
Is there a second? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
It's amazing that we got to do this for such a little tiny piece of ground.
Yeah.
I just got a question though. I mean, this is just going back to the property for free, or are we selling the right of way to them? The reason I ask that is because when I lived down at 722 Fifth Street and the city vacated what would have been the alleyway through there, they sold that piece of property to myself and the adjoining neighbors. So I'm just free or charging them?
No, there will, it will be sold.
Okay.
Because this is an urban renewal area, we are required also to put it out for a public bidding process that is a little lengthier than the typical.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
5 yes, an ordinance vacating 172 square feet of right-of-way of Cascade Avenue.
Motion to approve the first reading.
Please vote.
5 yes.
Okay, item 6I. This is a time and a place for a public hearing to consider 2025 parking lot repair program initiated by the city of West Des Moines. Ryan, would you please read the date the notice is published?
November 28th, 2025 in the Des Moines Register.
And have we received any written comments to this hearing?
None, Your Honor.
Okay, anybody in the audience like to address council on this item? Please come to the podium, give us your name and address to the record. If you're online, hit *6 to unmute yourself and do the same. Is there anybody either in the chamber or online that would like to address the council on item 6I? All right, hearing and seeing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed. And we've got 2 resolutions and a motion we can take at the same time, and there are no outstanding issues.
Move approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on the dais? Hearing none, please vote.
5 yes.
Okay, item 6J, this is a time and a place for a public hearing to consider City Hall Trail. Let's start over, I didn't have my mic on. This is time and a place to have a public hearing to consider City Hall Trail extension initiated by the city of West Des Moines. Ryan, would you please read the date the notice is published?
November 28th, 2025 in the Des Moines Register.
And have we received any written comments to this hearing?
None, Your Honor.
Okay, anybody in the audience who'd like to address the council on item 6J, please come to the podium, give us your name and address for the record. If you're online, hit *6 to unmute yourself and do the same. Is there anybody either in the chamber or online that would like to address the council on item 6J? Okay, hearing and seeing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed. We've once again got 2 resolutions and a motion which we can take at the same time, and there are no outstanding issues.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on the dais? Okay, please vote.
5 yes.
Okay, item 7, new business, item 7A, Timber Knoll at the Preserve, Plat 3, west of the intersection of Southwest Wild Bergamot Drive, who names these streets? And Southwest Meadow Rose Avenue. Accept surety and release final plat to create 29 lots for a single-family development and 3 street lots, Raccoon River Land Company. We've got a resolution for acceptance of surety and approval and release of the final plat, and there are no outstanding issues.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, is there anybody either online or in the chamber that would like to address the council on this item? Okay, is there any discussion on the dais? All right, in that case, please vote.
5 yes.
Okay, item 7B, Hidden Estates at the Preserve Plat 1, west of the intersection of Southwest Wild Bergamot Drive again, and Southwest Meadow Rose Avenue, accept surety and release a final plat to create 40 lots for single-family development, 4 outlots and 4 street lots, Raccoon River Land Company. And we've got a resolution for acceptance of surety and approval and release of the final plat. There are no outstanding issues. There are 2 conditions of approval. One is related to the council providing a waiver of city code to allow public utility easements to be in the front lawns. And the other is in regards to the city receiving all executed easement documents prior to the plat being recorded by Dallas County.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there anybody in the audience or online that would like to address the council on this item? Okay, is there any discussion on the dais? Please vote.
5 yes.
Okay, item 7C, South Branch Business Park, Building 2, 4500 Southeast Army Post Road, approve a full site plan to allow construction of a 76,800 square foot office and warehouse space building, WB Realty Company LLC. We have got a resolution for approval of the site plan, and there are no outstanding issues. That said, there are 2 conditions of approval with this action item regarding restricted uses on the site and requirement for the applicant owner to execute an easement with West Des Moines Waterworks outlining prohibited uses as well as site improvements necessary for protection of water sources in the area. All that said, what was approved by P&Z was the site plan without these 2 conditions of approval. So before we take any action, I'm going to go to City Attorney Greta Truman to let us know from a parliamentary procedure what we do in this case should we want to approve the 2 conditions of approval, given that it was voted down essentially by P&Z.
You could add those back in. I don't know that you, Ryan, I don't think they would need to be removed. I think you just add them in.
Well, there's a memo related to this one that changed the conditions of approval from what was in the pinky.
Yeah. Can we-
So I'm not
But
sure what the change
regardless,
is.
P&Z approved the site plan, but essentially, for lack of a better term, rejected the 2 conditions of approval with it. So I guess what I'm seeking to understand is if the council chooses to approve this with the 2 items amended or not, do we need a supermajority vote on this?
No, you do not. This
We
is
do
a
not.
site plan, and a
Okay,
supermajority would not
so
be
not for
required.
site plans.
No.
All right, so does somebody want to make a motion?
And Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I think the recommendation of staff is to include a revised number 2 condition of approval.
Yep.
As reflected in the memo to your right.
Yeah.
Okay.
The green.
Yeah.
Yep. Lynn Tweet, Director of Development Services. Just what Greta had said, we provided you a memo. After discussing with legal, it's our opinion that condition number 1 is not needed. It is covered in city code. Condition number 2, however, we would like to see remain and just be reworded to be that the applicant developer shall obtain permanent water to the building prior to issuance of occupancy permits. So there's an ongoing discussion between the developer and Waterworks, but just by code, you have to have that. There are site plan findings that we do not feel they can meet if they don't have that water, and that's why we can condition it. So city code gives you that authority to provide a condition that will make the site plan 100% consistent with code, for lack of a better way to say that. I kind of mumbled that. So 918A2C as in your memo. That says, there's 5 site plan findings that you have to be able to make. We can make 4 out of the 5. The 5th one, which is number 3 in those findings, the council has that authority to say, if I can't make all of those findings, I can place a condition that would make it compliant. That is what we are asking you to do with this condition of approval. If by chance they do not get the water, this site plan would not be compliant. So we are requiring them to obtain that permanent water supply in order to make this site plan work.
And Lynn, have you talked to the applicant on this condition?
And they're here, and I want to hear from them before we have a motion made, so.
Yeah,
They're
I'm
right
just
behind me.
curious.
It is still, from what I've heard just from a quick email, I did send this to them this afternoon. From the quick email I got back, is their preference is to remove both conditions of approval.
Okay, and your position is that in order to comply with our current ordinance, we can remove one, but we would need to keep condition 2?
Right, condition
Okay.
2, because if we do not have water, I cannot say that it meets the health, safety, and welfare. You would not have sanitary sewer within the building, you would not have fire suppression. So if they do not get the water, they should not be occupying that building.
And I would suspect that, I mean, we didn't talk about this at development planning, but oftentimes Fire Marshal Witzel would have concern if there's going to be an issue related to fire suppression.
Right, and we did check with Mike Witzel about construction. There is plenty of temporary water or through the current hydrants that's on site to get us through construction, but not permanent water to be able to hit the fire suppression, the sprinklers that'll be in the building.
I'm going to ask Christina Murphy, do you have anything that you want to add to this?
Let's get Christina up here, but let's go to Dan first from WB Realty. Let's hear what he has to say, then we'll go to Christina, and then somebody can make a motion based on the information that we've heard from the three.
Good evening, Dan Carlson, WB Realty, 7001 West Town Parkway, Suite 265 in West Des Moines. The reason we're requesting that restriction 2 be removed is just that, like was mentioned, we're already going to be required to bring water to the building before we get occupancy anyways. Yeah, Mike Witzel would have a big problem with us getting a certificate of occupancy without water to the site. Just seems like a redundant clause to have on this approval. Planning and zoning approved it with no conditions, and we'd ask the same.
Can I just ask, Dan, so you're saying that you're going to comply anyway? It's redundant in the sense that you're going to be
It's redundant.
complying?
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to be able to get a certificate of occupancy with the building department or fire without
okay.
water in the building regardless.
So if it's redundant, it really shouldn't matter if we have the condition in there as staff is requesting, right?
100%.
I'm wondering why this is even coming up. It's bizarre to me.
So you don't have a problem adding in?
We don't have a problem having it in there, it's just it's not required. It just seems redundant, it seems unnecessary to have it documented on as a condition of approval. It should just be a full site plan approval as presented.
But if it's not an issue, then
We
what's it going to hurt if it is a condition? I mean, if you have to meet it anyhow, what's it hurt to have it on the official documents?
Well, I think that gives West Des Moines Waterworks, and we'll hear from Christina, the ability, because they're going to have to negotiate an easement with West Des Moines Waterworks. And that easement is going to include uses that are prohibited and site improvements required to provide protections to the water sources. So essentially, this gives some kind
Those
of.
would be two separate items. The restrictions of uses would be in the PUD amendment that's been continued. The water service to the building is going to be an ongoing discussion with Waterworks, just to continue to negotiate a deal for that.
And I'd like to hear from Christina.
Yeah,
All right,
agreed.
let's hear from Christina.
Hello, Mayor and Council. Good evening. Christina Murphy, West Des Moines Waterworks General Manager. Just a quick explanation. This is complicated and messy, okay? I recognize that. The history a little bit is, I think you all recall Spray Tech and some of the challenges that we had with that, and you tasked the Waterworks to get more specific about the requirements that we need for source water protection. And we budgeted for that source water protection plan, and it's in process right now. I have a draft actually on my desk. So we heard what you said and we listened and we're trying to execute that. The developer is desired to move forward before that plan is in place. As we've been doing the planning, there have been certain uses that are of concern for source water protection, given that this development is right adjacent to Purple Martin Lake. It's not a current water supply, but it is a planned future water supply for the McMullen plant, which for West Des Moines, we get about 30% of our water from that plant most of the time. So we've tried to negotiate with the developer in good faith. We originally tried to go through the PUD process. You continued that hearing tonight because that was deferred, and that did had certain uses that were prohibited. As part of the ongoing discussion, our legal counsel, because Waterworks is separate, there's a separate sort of entity there, felt like an easement would be appropriate, given that a PUD could be changed by the council in the future. And so we are requesting an easement. It is a condition of service to this parcel. Typically, at the site plan process, those types of issues have been sorted out before a site plan is approved. In this case, that issue is not sorted out yet. We're still negotiating with the developer, and so we believe a condition is appropriate.
Can someone, I don't know, thank you for
Sure.
being here, thank you for the explanation, share a little bit about what happened at the P and Z? I mean, was this discussed in detail? Was this
Sure.
condition, why was this condition not approved by the P and Z?
I don't know, Lynn, you're probably the more appropriate person to explain that. We had discussion, obviously the PUD and the site plan were on the same agenda. The PUD, there were a couple of questions that we were still working with legal. They asked to defer that, which I can support that. We want to make sure it's right, and we appreciate that the city staff have been supportive of that. On the site plan, I don't know how you would characterize that. I think they felt like it wasn't needed. But the challenge with that is, as I pointed out to city staff, is that if there's no water service, it's sort of hard to know that you can have a site plan to be approved, a building be functional without water. It's not just fire suppression, it's public health and safety. And so by deferring that PUD, it sort of created this sort of complication, I think, with the site plan.
Well, and
Had the PUD move forward, maybe the conditions might not be needed. But it's deferred at this point.
Well, and to be clear, we have an amended conditions that we are to be considering. One is gone, and 2 remains, but 2 essentially just says now at this point in time that the applicant developer shall obtain permanent water service to the building prior to issuance of any occupancy permit, including any temporary occupancy permits. So I'm guessing, I mean, either way, they can't do anything until they get water to the site. To get water to the site, they're going to have to go through you. If you believe that they are going to have a use of the building that isn't something they should have, you're probably not going to allow water to go to the site, right?
Until we work out the terms of the easement, we're not going to move forward with water service to the site.
So it's covered with or without this, basically without this second
I think it
condition?
would be helpful if the city, normally, when we bring a site plan together, obviously, we sit on the development review services. All of those water things typically are all worked out prior to coming forward with site plan approval. I mean, if they're not, there have been conditions, and so I wouldn't see this any differently. But Greta can weigh in on that. That would be my recommendation, but I appreciate that there's another separate process there occurring. But usually we work together, step together, in line.
Well, I'll just say, I appreciate the commentary, and I wish this was, I mean, I can appreciate this is, I don't know, I think this is our last meeting of the year, so maybe this is something you needed to get done, and so therefore it didn't come to development and planning, and here we are hashing it out. I think, you know, given the proximity to our water sources and what you're saying relative to public health and safety, at least to me, I don't see any harm. I see, you know, Dan was saying we're going to be compliant anyway. I think this is maybe belt and suspenders, it sounds like, but when it comes to water source, I think that's probably a good thing to do. So I'm comfortable with the second condition as outlined here on the memo.
Okay. Any other additional comment before I go to somebody to make a motion of some kind? We'll see what that might be.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Second.
All right, Councilman.
I move to, approve item 7C, consistent with the memo that's before us that would remove condition number 1 and adopt condition number 2 with the modified language that simply states the applicant developer shall obtain permanent water service to the building prior to the issuance of any occupancy permits, including any temporary occupancy permits.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Do we want to try to beat the bathroom discussion? Is there any further discussion on this issue?
No.
Well, let's see, we took, 20 minutes on that? No,
Yeah,
just kidding.
yeah. Anybody else in the audience or online that would like to address the council on this item? Okay, hearing no one, please vote.
5 yes.
Okay, item 7D. Global Aviation, 7760 Cascade Avenue, approve a major modification site plan to allow construction of approximately 5,400 square foot building addition, Global Aviation Resources. We've got a resolution for approval of a major modification of the site plan. There are no outstanding issues. However, there's one condition of approval related to the deferral of 9 parking spaces until such time those parking spaces are deemed necessary by the city. Somebody want to move approval of the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there anybody in the audience or online that would like to address the council on this item? Is there any discussion on the dais?
I'm going to ask it. Who's going to police this to know when these other 9 stalls are needed? I mean, they're either needed or they're not. I don't know.
Assuming it's going to be on a complaint basis, and as the Pinky says, people observed parking on the grass and other places. All right, Lynn,
What he said.
that's quick.
That's how we handle, Lynn Tweet, Director of Development Services. Whenever we are deferring parking spaces, that really is what it amounts to. It is a complaint driven, is if anybody sees that they're parking on the grass, parking in no parking zones all the time, if we have any kind of reports of any issues, we will go out and trip them. The most recent one was the Foundry.
Yeah.
We got the comment that it was parking on neighboring properties and parking in grass, and that was what we needed to trip that requirement. So it is a complaint-based, for the most part, approach.
So who's going to complain about this one? I mean, Global Aviation's not going to complain that
Right.
they're parking on the grass.
Yeah, so this one likely, if there's any kind of issues, it likely would come through emergency services telling us they can't get through the site because people are parking in the wrong spots. That would likely be how this one would happen, because you're right, there is nobody else really around.
But with that, though, I mean, you don't build parking stalls overnight. And so it's probably, depending on when it occurs, you could very easily, go from one year into the next, so almost a year's time before they get built. I just think if we think they're needed, why not build them? I don't know, it's 9 stalls.
With this major mod, it's more about the production space than it is any office space, so you're not necessarily increasing the number of employees drastically like you would if it was an office addition. So they have plenty of parking out there today. That's why they really aren't even building any extra parking with this. They're able to use what they have. So
I think this is a small part of why we're voted the best city to do business 28 years in a row, is having some flexibility, not requiring them to build the parking if it's not needed today. It may never be needed. I mean, I hope it is. It means that they are a massive success and growing and adding jobs, but it may never be needed. So I like the flexibility.
Yeah, with the self-driving vehicles and the articles I've seen recently on, the lack of needed additional parking, you never know where this plays out.
That's right. Absolutely. From your mouth to God's
So
ears.
what, in 5 years, nobody's going to be driving? I don't know. But our guidelines indicates that it's 63 stalls that are needed
in total.
in total. And we're being asked to let them just build 54.
They already have 54.
They have 54.
Right.
But
So they're
they need-
really asking not to add any additional parking with this addition to the building, because they do not feel it's needed. We're within that acceptable limit, and we are just deferring, we are not waiving. So if there's a problem, we have a way to get them. So they have 54 on
Over a
site
year's
today.
time. I just, okay.
All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please vote.
Four yes, 1 no.
Man, where are the Boy Scouts for that discussion? Okay, moving on. Item 7E, Plata Survey Parcel 25-115, southwest corner of Wendover Road and South Grand Prairie Parkway. Approved Plata Survey to create a 12-acre parcel for transfer of ownership, Mid-American Energy Company. We've got a resolution for approval and release of the Plata Survey, and there are no outstanding issues.
Move approval.
But there are Not so quick, Grasshopper. There are, however, 3 conditions of approval. One condition is the applicant and property owner acknowledging that this is being done for transfer of ownership only, and that the current or future property owner remains responsible for any public improvements required. The second condition of approval relates to the applicant and property owner acknowledging and agreeing that no improvements are to be made to the property until the property is replatted through the city subdivision process. The applicant and property owner also must acknowledge that if the subdivision does not occur, that no building permits for any structure shall be issued on the property until the required public improvements are made, required fees are paid, and necessary legal documents are executed and filed. Finally, condition number 3 relates to the new property owner executing and providing to the city irrevocable offer of dedication. Now,
Move approval.
beautiful. Is there a second? Okay, it's moved and seconded. Is there anybody in the audience or online that would like to address council on item 7E? Okay, any discussion on the dais? Just want to make sure I get that out there, so if they violate it, I say, hey, you should have heard it here. That's right. We told you about those conditions.
Very thorough.
Absolutely. All right, hearing no discussion, please vote.
5 yes.
Mr. Mayor, one quick note
Yes,
on
sir.
the previous one about global aviation. I just wanted to add one quick comment. I think it's awesome that they have the need for an addition. I want to recognize that the fact that global aviation's been there for many years, and now they are expanding. I just wanted to reflect the record that it's awesome that they have the opportunity and the need to expand. So I did want to say that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Councilman. Okay, 7F, plat of survey parcels 25-72 and 25-73, generally located at 11315 Boonville Road. Approved plat of survey to create parcels for the transfer of ownership, WRJ LC. We've got a resolution for approval and release of the plat of survey creating parcels 25-72 and 73, and there are no outstanding issues. There is one condition of approval related to the applicant property owner acknowledging this is being done solely for the transfer of ownership and that no building shall be constructed upon this land until it's rezoned, replatted, and the necessary public improvements are made. These conditions are going to apply to the next 3 items. I'm not going to repeat them after this. Is there a motion to approve and release the plat survey?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there anybody in the audience or online that would like to address the council on this item? Any discussion? Good, come on up. Give us your name and address for the record again. You've got 5 minutes.
Hi, my name is Holly Anderson. Do you need my address again? Do you need my address again?
Go ahead and give us your name and address again.
Holly Anderson, 205 27th Street, West Des Moines.
Okay, go ahead, Holly.
Is these parcels of land, the 11315 Boonville Road? From what I've looked at, isn't that where a data center is nearby currently?
I believe there is one nearby off of 115th. This is 113th, so I think that is probably accurate.
So I was just wondering if these were going towards that data center to be.
It looks to me like this is a
expanded
family
area.
that's trying to subdivide the land and
Okay,
parcel it out evenly, is what I gathered from the Pinky. I could be wrong.
To children or something, or?
Yeah.
okay. That was
So
just
nothing related to data centers, but they are somewhat nearby.
my concern. And
Okay.
I just wanted to take a pause on that if that was the case.
All right. Thank you for your concern and your feedback. Appreciate it. Anybody else like to address the council on this item? Okay, any discussion in the dais? Hearing none, please vote.
Four yes, 1 abstention due to potential conflict of interest.
Okay, again, we've got the same conditions on the next couple. Not going to repeat these conditions. Plat of survey, Item 7G, plat of survey parcels 25-74 and 25-75, generally located at 113,000, I can never get this right, 11315 Boonville Road. Approved plat of survey to create parcels for the transfer of ownership, WRJ LC. Again, we've got a resolution for approval release of the plat of survey, creating parcels 25-74 and 25-75, and there are no outstanding issues.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there anybody in the audience or online that would like to address the council on this item? Okay, is there any discussion on the dais? Okay, please vote.
4 yes, 1 abstention due to potential conflict of interest.
Okay, item 7H, plat of survey parcels 25-76, 25-77, generally located 113-11315 Boonville Road. Approved plat of survey to create parcels for the transfer of ownership, WRJ LC. We've again got a resolution for approval, release of the plat of survey, creating parcels 25-76 and 77, and there are no outstanding issues.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there anybody in the audience or online like to address council on this item? Any discussion on the dais? All right, please vote.
Four yes, 1 abstention due to potential conflict of interest.
Okay, item 7I, plat of survey parcels 25-78 and 25-79, generally located at 11315 Boonville Road. Approved plat of survey to create parcels for the transfer of ownership, WRJ LC. We've once again got a resolution for approval, release of the plat of survey creating 25-78 and 25-79, and there are no outstanding issues.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there anybody in the audience or online that would like to address the council on this item? Any discussion on the dais? Okay, please vote.
4 yes, 1 abstention due to potential conflict of interest.
Okay, we are off that issue. On to 7J. Approval of traffic code amendment, special stops required, South 34th Street, or Court and Park Haven Drive, South 43rd Street and Timberwood Drive, South 56th Street and Southwest Lake Ridge Drive. We've got an ordinance amendment for approval of the first reading, and there are no outstanding issues.
Move consideration of the first reading.
Second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Is there anybody online or in the audience who would like to address the council on this item? Any discussion on the dais? Okay. I hear that. Please vote.
Where's that stop sign going to go, Russ?
Probably go right in my yard. Thanks, guys.
5 yes, an ordinance to amend the city code of the city of West Des Moines, Iowa, 2024 by many provisions pertaining to the traffic code relating to official traffic controls.
Move approval of the first reading.
Second.
Please vote.
We're going to put a big
How many
flashing red
signs am I
light on
gonna
that.
have?
Russ, right by your house.
And flags, hopefully.
Absolutely.
5 yes.
Oh, Lord. All right, item 8. Item 8, receive, file, and/or refer. Item 8A, we will receive the FY 24-25 Annual Comprehensive Financial Report, and we will refer it to the Finance and Administration City Council Subcommittee for putting that stop sign on my yard. Item 8B, 2025 West Des Moines Waterworks Budget Amendment Number 2. We will receive and file Budget Amendment Number 2. And item 8C, the 2026 West Des Moines Waterworks Budget, we will again receive and file this budget amendment, or this budget as well. Item 9, other matters. Are there any other matters that any council person would like to bring up for the good of the order?
I did take note, Your Honor, it costs $52,000 to audit our books and $112 to design a bathroom.
Thank you for that, Councilman. Okay, anything
Going to
else?
stay on that, aren't you?
Oh, my goodness, we're fixated on bathrooms. Okay, anything else for the good of the order?
Cut out.
If not, we are going to adjourn into our workshop, but take a bathroom break since we're so fixated on it before it. We are adjourned.
What is our workshop?
We've got a quick workshop. I'm told it's only going to take about 15 minutes on a couple items. Yeah, yeah. I'll tell you right now.
Bring those down. You guys, what is the deal with, I'm getting all these They're closing us.
I don't have my badge either.
How do you feel about that?
Well, they're taking feedback on that before they make the decision.
I don't like the fact that they have to do a multi-plus million-dollar
That's
contract.
what people are calling and saying. They're saying,
It's-
okay,
it
so
makes
you
people
do the board
confused. It
thing,
makes people
the
confused.
referendum, and then the superintendent is being silent about all of it.
All right, out of respect for everybody in this room, we're gonna start here in 1 minute. At 7:15, we're gonna kick off. 7:15.
Elmer Petru.
Elmer Petru. All right, going to City Engineer Brian Hemesath to kick us off on the workshop on EP True Extension.
We're talking about the EP True Parkway, and from Grand Prairie Parkway to, and you can see on the map here, from Grand Prairie Parkway to Ute Avenue, which is also County Road R22. This is what our ultimate street circulation map looks like today. That purple line is what we're going to be focusing in on. So I'm going to cut to the chase on the next slide on what the purpose of this workshop is. We're going to talk about, do we need that connection of EP True from Grand Prairie to Ute? And the staff recommendation, this is a spoiler alert, staff recommendation is to remove it from the ultimate streets map. We're going to go through some different.
All right, workshop over.
I'm good with that.
All right, go ahead.
Basically, and we're going to go through these points here. I'm not necessarily going to go through every single one of those. I'll hit those at some point. But then we'll have discussion items. I'm going to go first, then we'll have Ryan come up, talk about development potential and annexation, and Lynn will talk about the comp plan and how that might change. So a while back when the Prairie Fire Development came in, and that's that little missing piece on this map there towards the middle left of the map. And we had a consultant look at what it would take to build EP True from South Grand Prairie Parkway to Ute through that property. And Prairie Fire built a portion of EP True through that property already. But basically what I want to talk about is the fact that while that's built, it doesn't necessarily mean that we have to build EP True all the way through there. It's still an important connection. It provides access to those parcels in the back, but it doesn't necessarily mean that just because that piece is put in there that we need to build this road from Grand Prairie Parkway to Ute. So we did a preliminary design. The cost of that road in 2 years ago dollars is about $21 million. and what we're going to show you, and Ryan's going to go into, is we really don't have enough valuation in that area to do a TIF project, but I'm not going to steal his thunder. I'm going to kind of go into why we're here. These are a couple of design concepts for projects on the east and the west side of EP True. And what we're running into is people are trying to do some development on both sides of the creek, and we don't know what to tell them where the roads are going to be, because this has kind of been in the back of our minds is, do we really need EP True? And we wanted to run it by all of you and give you all the data on it so that you can let us know if you're supportive of taking this off the map.
Ryan, what was that left map? I'm trying to figure out where is where on the upper left map here.
Yep, so the left map is, this is the area that used to be owned by Davis Estates, and it is now Kraus-owned property. That on the top of that is the Jewish Federation property, and then right next to it on the right is the Prairie Fire Development, and that red line on the left side is R22 or Ute Avenue.
So what is the red or pink line with the curve with the dash in it? And I mean, you've got two or three of these.
Yeah, that would be where Mills was originally planned to go. I'll get into what the map will look like when we're all said and done. But these are for just illustrative purposes to show why we need to get these roads figured out so that people know what to design to when they're doing these developments out here.
Okay, but just to clarify, you did say that part of EP True has already been built?
Correct.
And so if we don't continue EP True,
it would just become a local street at that point to serve and if you go back here, so you can see that portion that's not gray, that is constructed. There still needs to be access to the back properties to the east of there that can be used for access to those properties.
okay, so if EP True does, and I'm getting ahead of you, but if EP True doesn't go through, how do you get roads through there?
Yeah, through where EP True is currently built on that property. And I can go, yeah, we are jumping ahead just a little bit. All right, so this is what the map looks like as adopted. I showed you that at the beginning of the presentation, how this map would change. And so you can kind of see where the Prairie Fire Development is. I don't know if you can you see my mouse?
Yep.
Yeah, so Prairie Fire Development is right in here. The Kraus land that was on one of those drawings is right in here, and that angled down road, Kevin, that we were talking about, that's Mills Civic Parkway. That's what was shown dashed on that property.
All right, thank you.
Yep. And then the other one was some development over on this side of the creek over here, and EP True is shown kind of going through the middle of that as well. So what we are proposing is that road essentially go away. I didn't do the best job of covering that up. You can kind of use your imagination. That's going to go away. And if you look over where the EP True is towards the right, we would make the connection of basically that is Wendover Road, and we would connect that in where EP True would connect in that location. And then Mills Civic Parkway would be shifted up to that other quarter section, and it would be more straight across. If it were shifted down to where it is, or where it's shown on the dash line there, it's really not a great place for Mills Civic Parkway to continue on. Now, you might ask, well, that's going into Waukee, why do we care? We care because we want road continuity between our communities. And down in that area, there's Johnson Creek is right in that area, and it would be incredibly difficult to make that connection to Ute Avenue down there where that creek crosses. So
Where it was previously shown?
Where it was previously shown.
But this one avoids Johnson Creek?
That's correct.
Okay.
I got that stuck to myself. So then you can see where that yellow line came in there. That would go all the way across from, a mile or a quarter mile south of there to connect up Ute to South Grand Prairie Parkway as a minor collector street. So essentially, if you look at that, those are the changes. And then we would adjust some of those other streets in there to make all of the streets work together. And you can see here, this road that comes up from Mills, that lines up with where the EP True is in this development, and then that could continue on to serve this area up in here. So then it would just end. It'd be a loop street or some kind of a cul-de-sac, or there'd be a small road network up in there to serve that area.
Brian, well, you have that up there.
Yeah.
This was an issue, well, I don't know, this is something we discussed with some other stakeholders 2 years ago-ish, right? Well, I guess probably 2022, as I'm looking at the top of that prior screen when we adopted the comprehensive plan. And there were a lot of very interested folks that were part of those discussions about the alignment of EP True and Ware Mills and, just the whole thing. I'll just say the interested parties been briefed on what is being proposed here?
They're sitting in the room right now, and they've been notified about this meeting, and they've been briefed on what's happening.
Okay, that includes the folks with the development along I-80?
Prairie Fire?
Is that, okay, I don't know the technical name.
They're sitting behind me right now.
The CASP Terrace Group, the Jewish Federation?
Okay, very good.
Okay, all right, very good.
This kind of thing, I want to know why we are looking at doing this, taking this off and doing this new map, because, I just think back about the days with Linda Roble and the alignment of streets and you move it this way, then somebody screams, you move it that way and somebody screams, and, this is like a no-win battle, but there's obviously a good reason why we're having that alignment gone.
Right. And a lot of the reasons I've already mentioned, the sheer cost of that road, that a lot of that cost is in the bridge to get across Sugar Creek. Significant environmental concerns with that area.
So environmental concerns, taxpayer concerns.
Right. And there's other things too that my counterparts will come up and discuss as well.
Keep going, Brian, keep going.
Yep. So I'm going to actually pass it over now to Ryan to talk about some of the developable areas here and how that all ties in.
Thank you, Brian. Ryan Moffett, Community and Economic Development Director. So yes, one of the primary considerations we've really looked at is what's developable in this area versus what isn't. And this is a rough map to depict that. We've done a lot of analysis on this area. I think some of this was forced out based on the development interest we're seeing. Others was during the course of the Fox Creek annexation discussion. And I think in a nutshell, one of the arguments that we've got here is that it's going to be awfully tough to get enough development to really carry the burden essentially to fund a $21 million roadway project through increased tax revenue generated from development alone. And so what this map essentially shows is the whole area comprises about 278 acres. This would be the alignment along what would have been proposed EP True Parkway. The red is areas that are either topographically sensitive, already developed, or in the case of the Jewish Federation, our conversations with them, they really don't have further aspirations for some of their ground to develop any further. They really just kind of want to be left to their own devices out there. And so when we take that out and we look at the green area, which are either under development now or we've had conversations with folks about development on, that yields about 135 acres of property total.
And Ryan, the Jewish Federation, is that the purple or whatever area in the middle, or that's
This
over
right
there?
here.
Okay,
Yep.
I gotcha.
And there are some other small properties that are against Jude Avenue that are independently owned over there, but as you can see, they're developed as well. And then, of course, at the end of V Court on the north end, there's a small collection of existing houses that remain out in unincorporated Dallas County. So as you recall, this was part of the Fox Creek annexation area that back in May, we got direction on to basically move on from. Yes.
Rube Steakhouse is on Ute too, right?
They are, yep, they're on the west side, and our annexation moratorium agreement with Waukee, basically, anything on the west side of Ute Avenue would be ceded to Waukee. Anything on the east side would be territory under this agreement that we could annex in the future.
And a lot of that stuff on the west side is already in the city limits of Waukee, too?
That's correct. Okay. Yep, that's correct. That was the annexation, I guess, that caught West Des Moines by surprise many years ago before I came on board, but shots fired at the time. So, yeah, I think, that's an important map to take a look at here. And then just from a consideration standpoint, I've talked about this with several of the developers. I've talked with Tim Stiles about this, but just back of napkin math, we essentially need about $5.7 million in assessed commercial valuation for every $1 million of public improvement project that we bond for. And so when we talk about, the ways in which we go about paying for road infrastructure, I think we've got kind of the tried and true model where we get the bird in hand, so to speak, from an economic development standpoint. We put that project under a minimum assessment agreement. We come back and we collect the TIF revenue that comes off of it to pay down our GO bond debt to build public improvements. Done a lot of work with that. That's the Microsoft data center example. In this case, though, when we look at this, for a $21 million roadway project, we would need roughly $120 million in valuation guaranteed to be able to pull the trigger on extending that roadway project using that model of funding the roadway. It's even more valuation than that when we talk about residential development, which this area might have some tendency to go residential partially in the future. And that reason why is because of the difference in the rollback. Commercial's at a 90% rollback next year, residential's going to 44. So without a large committed project, basically when you just kind of have speculative development where you've got people that might be marketing for development purposes, without that bird in hand, it makes that way to fund the project a little bit of a challenge. Obviously, the other major funding source that we use for roadway projects would be the capital improvement plan budget. I think just in our discussions internally, you're the decision makers on this, but our thoughts are that at the moment, there are probably other higher priority uses for the capital improvement plan than this particular area of the community. Really, I'll just end with, I know this map's a little bit hard to read, but this basically shows the municipal boundaries of West Des Moines. So the point I'm trying to make with this is that much of this area that we're talking about to be developed in the future would still require annexation of the city. We think it's probably going to happen in a much more incremental piecemeal fashion versus this wholesale annexation that we had tried before. But the purple dashed lines are what you see within the city today. So the Westport subdivision that you see, Brookdale Drive, that really is the western extent of the city limits today. So I am going to turn it over to Lynn to talk a little bit about the land use of this area.
Okay, Lynn Tweed, Director of Development Services. So you likely remember with the comp plan, we tend to look at, we take the property boundaries off the map. We look at the roads and we look at kind of the environmental features. So heavily treed areas, creeks that have slopes that are 35% or generally in that area, things that would kind of give us some boundaries for those land uses. This is what we adopted in 2022. If we make this change and take EP True off of this map, this is what we would suggest we end up going with. Some of these changes that are going to happen, this detached residential that is now placed up in here, this secondary access, we'll have the one access that comes up through Prairie Fire, but there needs to be a secondary access. We really don't want to route commercial back down through that residential. Therefore, we'd recommend making that a residential land use. The other piece of it is with mills kind of coming across, you end up with not needing quite as much of the commercial as what we maybe had on the previous map up in this area. We end up losing, if I go back, you end up kind of losing these commercial nodes that we have in the middle of the residential because we can actually hit the walkability based on what's around it in here. So there's not drastic changes to this. This residential up here is probably the biggest change. We have downgraded this over to multi-use low just as you move away from the interstate there. Kind of reduce that commercial intensity. Still allows for that commercial, but it's at a little bit less of a intense, more of a neighborhood commercial as you kind of come away from the interstate. And again, just pocketing in a little bit of the mixed residential, which could allow for the multifamily apartments, townhomes type development.
Remind me again what multi-use medium would allow up there in the, at the intersection or the
Yep.
interstate interchange?
Yeah, so these are what the land uses are. Really, all the multi-use categories will allow commercial, office, essentially what we call no impact or limited impact industrial. The multi-use low allows single family. It does allow attached product at a smaller scale. The multi-use medium, so multi-use low is like our neighborhood commercial nodes that we have today. Multi-use medium is kind of a little bit more of that commercial level. A little bit bigger of an area, a little bit more intense. A lot of the city is actually developed under what we would consider multi-use medium. It does not allow single family. It does allow more intense multifamily, a little bit higher densities, a little bit bigger apartment buildings. And then your multi-use high is your most intense kind of commercial mixed use areas. So all of them allow residential of some capacity, commercial, office, and that limited industrial.
But multi-use medium would not allow a truck stop?
You
Or
could
it
do,
would?
you could do a truck stop in a multi-use medium.
Because I can see that being a desire right there at the interchange.
I don't know that you'll find the ground to do it, but it is possible.
I just texted Bucky's the other day.
Can I, I'm trying to understand what the outcome of tonight is supposed to be. Normally, these sorts of things typically come before development and planning, and then if we have issues, we come to the full council. So are we being asked, is this just like a briefing? Are we asked to be, obviously, we can't formally approve something, but what are we?
We're asking for whether or not you're in agreement that EP True maybe should not extend west past Sugar Creek due to the cost and due to the limited value that we're going to have up there.
Okay.
If you agree with that, we will come back with a comprehensive plan amendment to update the map of the uses on the map.
Help me understand why we wouldn't go to the subcommittee first before going to the full council here.
Generally, just because we felt that the magnitude of the change to this one is probably something that all of you should weigh in on. So we're looking for that general direction first of, yeah, it makes some sense to take EP True off, or no, we'd like to see it remain. So
Well,
without that, we didn't know what our next step was.
Yeah, I get that, but my concern is that I don't know how many of these affected property owners have had notice or are aware of what's going on, and you know, that, I mean, obviously, there's some folks here tonight, but I'm not comfortable giving direction until I understand. I mean, people may have made purchases, people may have, you know, made investments based upon the comprehensive plan that was adopted 3 years ago, and then to ask us for our direction tonight without giving an opportunity for all of those that may be impacted by some substantial changes to weigh in feels like a cart before the horse to me.
Everybody that would be changed in this map received notice of tonight's meeting.
Okay.
Have any of those opinions be shared? I agree with Matt. Like, I will share my personal thought. I've seen this map just hundreds of times, the EP True going through the north, Mills Civic going through the west, and I have thought to myself before what you all are recommending, that does it really make sense to have EP True and Mills Civic going through? However, I do agree with Councilman McKenney saying that there's a lot of folks here who have an interest in this area, and so I'm glad they've been noticed. Have they shared their thoughts with city staff yet?
The only one that I've talked to personally is with the Jewish camp. And just to explain what they were looking at the map. The other gentleman that called me, I tried to call back 3 different times and could never get him. So those are the only 2 people that reached out. My name is the one that was on the notice to reach out to, so.
Are we, I mean, yeah, are we going to open this up for feedback? I mean,
That's entirely your call.
Well,
This
that's,
is a workshop
on
that
workshops, we
typically do
typically
not.
have not, unless you guys have questions. We typically have not. I mean, if this is going to go, you know, if we're going to move forward with direction on this and then continue to explore it, there will be time for public hearings and for feedback and input from residents. But, and maybe that's a greater discussion that we need to have as a council, because some workshops, we have allowed public participation, some we have not. Typically, it's for us to listen to staff, get direction, move forward, then the rest of the process follows. But I'm with you. I mean, this is, you know, I've got like, you know, nightmares looking at this. I agree. I think it needs to come off the map because, you know, the impact, $21 million, if that's just not economical, we can do it a better way, then I think we owe it to the taxpayer at least to take a look at that better way. But then that impacts this, which really has a major impact on everybody sitting out there.
All right, so you said if we've got questions, so I got a question. Is there anybody here in the audience that came to talk about this tonight?
We really don't know what they're all proposing.
Come on up.
Come on up. What we're proposing is, and Brian, can you put that map up? Please.
Right here in a couple things, but just think if they came out.
So this is what is currently adopted.
To bring, the purple line is to bring EP True, eventually take EP True somewhere in this area. This line is not exact, right?
Well, is the western terminus a specific place, though?
Okay.
I think that's a specific spot, right?
The alignment of this is not a specific alignment.
It's pretty close. We had
It can,
an engineer look at it, and this is probably the most economical location for it.
so that's what's proposed. Now, Brian, if you would go back to, I guess, the last one that showed no EP True and Mills Civic Parkway. So that's now what's being asked of the council. Do we think EP True needs to stay there, or the red line with Mills Civic Parkway?
Are you?
Right?
Yeah, that's the question.
That's the question. So for the gentleman, that's what's taking place tonight.
Are they proposing they're doing a TIF program and putting the streets in and buying the ground from everybody, or are they just?
At this point, it's just, where do we think the road should go sometime in the future? We're not looking at building it tomorrow or next year. It's sometime down the line. Do we think EP True needs to go in, up at that north, that purple line, or change the comp plan to show this red line of Mills Civic Parkway? Buying land and where the road's exactly going to go, because again, this isn't necessarily the exact place that Mills Civic Parkway will go. It's somewhere in this area.
It's also not just the street configuration, it's also what the comprehensive plan, I saw at least one of them go from purple, and I don't remember if it was medium or high or low, but to detached residential.
That's the next phase, right, Lynn?
Correct.
Tonight, it's whether or not we keep EP True or not. Is that the question? If we don't, then there will be a change of some sort of the comp plan.
Correct.
But staff wants to give us a 30,000-foot view of how that comp plan may make sense to change based on the road alignment and what we know in the area. And so the folks sitting in the audience have two things to consider: where that road is going versus where the other road was going. And number two, what the change in the comprehensive plan is going to mean to them as a homeowner or as somebody that's going to someday sell your land.
But that's going to come in the next step. They'll have input then as well.
Yes, a comprehensive plan amendment is a noticed, it's a public hearing matter. So we would notice anybody who is having their land use changed within that area.
I just bring up the use because typically as we see these things happen, the higher the use, you have infrastructure that accommodates the higher use. If we eliminate the infrastructure, there would be no need for a higher use. In other words, if you're going to put in if we propose residential streets in the area, it probably makes sense to go residential streets. If we're proposing a major thoroughfare there, it probably makes sense to do something not detached residential. And so, yes, well, the specific conversation tonight is isolated as it relates to the type of road. The type of road we land on will also inform the comprehensive plan in that specific area.
And that's why for me, I don't want to extend this meeting out long. However, if there are folks who are really, really passionate about this issue of EP True, and you came out here tonight, I mean, I would certainly love to hear from you. If you're cool right now and just want to share that in a concise email or a long email later, I'd be fine with that too. But I don't want anyone to come out here and be like, I didn't have my voice heard. So that's how I feel about the matter.
All right, give us your name and address for the record.
Yeah, Jared Bernstein, I'm the Executive Director of the Jewish Federation of Greater Des Moines, 33158 Ute Avenue. I like the EP True not extending past Sugar Creek. We don't want a major thoroughfare right along our property. where we have preschool, museum, campsite in our offices. So when I got this notice in the mail, really couldn't believe my eyes that this was being taken off potentially. So strongly support not continuing EP True all the way through.
Strongly not continuing.
To end it.
He likes to change. He likes
to change it,
Oh,
yes.
Okay,
Yep.
all right,
Yep.
just want to make sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for what you do, and our prayers are with your
Yep.
community.
Anybody else?
How's it going, Nick?
Hi, everybody. It's been 3 years. Nick Williams, 34097 V Place in Waukee, soon to be West Des Moines, even though we've tried for a long time to get that annexation done and failed. But I am one of the property owners in multiple locations within this that has signed the voluntary agreement to annex, as well as some of my colleagues I'm here with tonight. I've prepared some thoughts. I'm not sure I'm ready to share all of them. I was going to ask that they be filed, but I'm not going to do that tonight because I'm going to trust in the process and that there'll be more opportunity for our voices to be heard.
Absolutely, there will be.
But I will share some frustrations, just that we have a couple major stakeholders, one in the room with Kraus, that just doesn't speak publicly. So we don't know what the plans are, but we are constantly told, our group within Prairie Fire, Freedom Developer, and even to some point, my clients that purchased the Hanson property, the Lushers who are here tonight, that we have speculative development. And until something happens with these larger properties that purchased the Davis Estates, which is Kraus, or Brian Martin with Threshold, until those things happen, nothing can happen with ours. Yet we're all lined up as sitting ducks. We've been at the table for 3 years saying we want to develop. In my mind, Ryan and I disagree on what speculative development is, and we can respectfully disagree on that. But in my mind, it's not speculative when the council approves Prairie Fire's road to be put in there, the infrastructure to be put into place to support EP True Parkway and to allow us to get to the point where development has happened and buildings are going up. And you know, we all came to the table 3 years ago, 2 years ago, and we really ironed all this out. And so today I really am just going to speak as a real estate agent who represents this area and takes pride in this corridor, not only because I live in it, but because I have a lot of belief in this corridor between Grand Prairie Parkway and Ute Avenue. And the amount of money that can be brought to this area if we can come up with a plan. And it has constantly been over the last 3 years, the chicken or the egg, and what's going to come first. So a few of my thoughts as I've tried to learn as well how comprehensive plans are created and road use is created. There's a major arterial that moves regional traffic. That is Mill Civic. There is EP True Parkway that distributes the local trips. And I have sold not only to people who are here in the room, but also myself and my investment partners that EP True Parkway has dictated development for West Des Moines over the last 20 years. Why would it ever stop? So why would we ever think it would be given up on, especially with the 3 to 4 years that staff worked on this comprehensive plan, and then the special meetings that pursued to talk about 6 different areas with landowners of what the land use should be, and then taking into account the Homeland Security issue with the Jewish Federation and our agreeance to realign EP True Parkway already once, and to keep them secure and to keep traffic from off their properties. So all of that was into consideration and went into our investment and the money that's been spent and the notes that have been taken out to count on this roadway to be put here. I just feel like that was the opportunity for this conversation, not now, you know, when money's been spent. I think eliminating this corridor forces local traffic into a single major arterial, which just pushes a problem down the line. We're constantly talked about growth, safety, emergency access, you know, future residential, school, commercial growth, especially the school on the other side of Grand Prairie Parkway where Waukee's got plans, where EP True Parkway is going through. We're counting on that traffic to come across our businesses that we're trying to attract and bring in along this corridor on the property that we've invested in and we've bought based off of the comprehensive plan, the new plan that was adopted. The single corridor system, I believe, fails earlier, and the costs are just moved to a later down the road. You know, we're kicking the bucket down the road. The economic impact, we talk about that. I believe we have actually sat in meetings with staff and we've shown that we can generate more than $121 million in revenue in this area based off of initial interest and also what can we do once infrastructure's there. Now, water is a whole nother issue and hopefully Christina can address that in this meeting with you guys. Removing this corridor, it will strand the prior private investment that we've all made and it reduces our land value considerably. There's been utilities put in, gradings that were designed, all assuming that EP True Parkway was going in here. And so I think the landowners that invested based off of the city's adopted comprehensive plan just really needs to be considered heavily on this. You know, the number constantly flexes. We talked about $21 million tonight, but I believe that's the entire stretch from Grand Prairie Parkway to Ute Avenue, but we have no way of knowing that because the McClure engineering study that was completed, or what I was told was stopped halfway through and never completed, has never been shared with us. So I'm still going off of $15 million to create the bridge that we're talking about through the Davis Farm onto Mary O'Connell's piece, which would come through this 100-foot elevation issue right in here. I still think that eliminating the road shifts the cost. The future retrofits and the congestion that will ensue and oversizing costs, you know, would exceed the near-term savings in my mind. Lost development intensity reduces long-term tax revenue, in my mind, far beyond $15 million for this bridge. So I think like a reasonable alternative is to retain EP True Parkway in its original planned alignment, preserve the right-of-way and defer the bridge construction if necessary, protect our prior investment while maintaining the long-term connectivity of this area, and start planning now for future SIP cycles of how can we make this work. But the main issue that needs to be addressed is the water, and no one's talking about that. I'll say again, I really hope that is talked about tonight because that has what has handicapped us and crippled us in this area and forced us to develop within Dallas County when we have wanted and been at the table for 3 years to work with City of West Des Moines. So I'm happy to answer any questions you guys might have, but those are just some of my thoughts I prepared tonight. And like I said, I trust in the process. I know we'll have more opportunity, but I will say this, staff is tired too. They're tired of seeing us in meetings. You know, we've had probably 20 meetings about this and we just have gut wrenching feelings when we ask them for another meeting to try to come up with another way and, you know, a new idea. But anyhow, those are my thoughts.
Well, Nick, you talked about how to get water out there. I mean, water is always driven by development.
Mm-hmm.
And so there is nothing other than the residential that's on this map just north of what's identified as Mills and V Court, right? I mean, is that the only between, I'm not even Grand Prairie Parkway going west, right?
And that
so how are you going to get water unless somebody puts it in? Because West Des Moines Waterworks isn't going to pay to put water in if there's only, you know,
we've worked with
crumbs of customers out there to pay for it. So
right. We've worked with Christina on a plan to be able to put water in, but that requires annexation, which the staff can't get accomplished.
Right.
And we have voluntarily requested it. We have shown them a way to get our area annexed with the 80-20 rule. We have everybody on board except for, you know, a 10-acre piece in between the city limits. So why can't we? Well, then it comes down to maybe it's just not advantageous to do that, and you guys decide that because you need our land for future acquisition or annexation, you know, attempts because it represents so much property. Typically, you know, you look at areas like this and you think, well, we don't know what's going to go in there, but You have the developers here at the table who want to put something in there, who want to get to a final plat approval, so we can market and we can attract businesses. Because I personally, on my piece, have had 4 businesses come, including the Heart of Iowa Regional Transit that's been turned down to buy my 9.3 acres right here because of water. And so there's an opportunity for you maybe to reach across the road and buy it from Waukee while you talk about renewing that agreement and kicking the can down the curb when it comes to the investment for the bridge. You know, some meet in the middle, because there is water there, more than what we can get through Xenia, but we can't even get it through Xenia now as a rural connection through the county because Waterworks has purchased that fee district.
So Nick, thanks for being here and for the explanation. I participated in meetings with, at the time, Dan Manning, who I think was representing the Jewish Federation, I think yourself or representatives of your team, with Brian Hemesath and others to talk about the alignment and all the things that kind of have been hashed out here. At the end of your comments, you had mentioned that, you know, you've had a lot of meetings with staff, and I'm glad to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Are these the meetings from like 2021, 2022, or have there been more recent meetings?
No, there's been more recent meetings, and I know Lynn said she hadn't heard from anybody, but we had a meeting right before this where we kind of talked about this area and knew this was going to be coming up. And prior to that, I had a meeting with Ryan as well to talk about this area and really wanting to hear from West Des Moines. We don't want you, and not meaning like that. Just take that for blank surface, you know, value. More like we're willing to give you to Dallas County. Like, we don't think this area can be served. It's just not going to work. So we can let you move forward in developing in Dallas County. And so I have had, you know, recent meetings within the last, I'll say 30 days, 45 days, no more than 2 months with each of them, trying to understand what can we do, what options are here, and talking about, you know, we have even talked about plans where we do eliminate the bridge, but it's kind of like we have a feeling where things keep changing and we never really do get a firm direction. And I think ultimately what we hope from this is that we get that, and that in that process our voices can be heard.
Okay, so there have been reasons. This is, I mean, I don't know about the rest of my colleagues. I've never heard about this.
Mm-hmm.
Zero commentary, zero feedback, zero memos, zero, you know, reports on
We've intentionally
anything.
kept you guys out of it because we've tried to work through it with the staff first. It's been what we've been coached to do, and we've tried that.
And I'm not saying your fault at all. I'm just saying, like, you know, this is all new, right? And frankly, I talked to the mayor as soon as we finished the council meeting. Hey, what did we talk about tonight? EP True. I don't know. I figured it related to the school. I had no idea it related to this area. So to me, this is very early in the process. I'm a little disappointed that this is the first time that I'm hearing about it, given that we just approved the comprehensive plan 3 years ago, which I voted against. And now we're being asked tonight to give you direction or give staff direction on what we do with roads. Is it going to impact not just the roadway system, but also the land use in the particular area, which we don't have our ordinances for yet for the comprehensive plan we adopted 3 years ago. Obviously, I'm frustrated about it. But yeah, I appreciate you being here, Nick. I can't give direction tonight. I think this is way cart before the horse, in my opinion.
And I also remember at the time you were more concerned about the areas that were annexed into West Des Moines and planning for those versus those outside of the lines. Mm-hmm.
No, I appreciate those comments greatly, Nick, because that gives us some further context. And that's why I wanted to invite you up, because they're just, since you're here, let's share some thoughts. And I agree with Matt that while my initial thought is, the EP True cut through didn't seem as necessary, but you have provided a greater breadth to this conversation. And I think we'll probably continue talking as we continue on. So thank you, Nick.
Yeah.
But I think we do need to give staff direction tonight as to which way we want to pursue. We want to start exploring and figuring out what way we should move. I mean, either you want to stay with what we've currently got against staff's recommendation, or you want to explore this and see where it leads us. I think we need to explore what staff has put out here. And and see what the impact is and continue to have discussion with Nick and the other residents here, because they are businessmen and women out there. We're businessmen and women here in the city as well. And we are responsible for looking after the taxpayers and deciding what makes the most sense when it comes to investment in infrastructure. And what staff is saying is that this doesn't make sense for investment in infrastructure at this point in time, that this other direction might make more sense. Council, do you want us to pursue this? Now, we could tell them yes tonight and then start having these conversations. We could get all the way into this and realize, you know what? For whatever reasons, this doesn't seem like the way to go. Let's go back and take a look at what we've got here. But they're telling us that based on topography, having to go over the river here, the cost of this project, and when they talk about speculative development, I do want to address that. I mean, as long as Kevin and I have been on the council, I don't think we've had a lot of projects where we've actually done big, huge assessments to landowners to get the roads built.
Right.
That's what he's talking about speculative. What we've done is we've done, if we can, we've had development pay for that, and we've done TIF. So we don't have a project here or an increment identified to be able to issue bonds to pay for the infrastructure. We have no debt service payments identified from a development here. Short of that, we don't know how we're going to pay to put the road in. And if we all of a sudden say, okay, we hear you, here's what we're going to do. We'll leave it here. We're going to assess everybody to get it built. You guys would also not want that. We don't want that.
But that
So-
might be the only way to get it done.
Sure, but we haven't done that yet, to my knowledge. Have we? We've done, where we've done assessments of developers who have asked us to do that, like on the four corners of what, 88th and Mills,
Yep, Coach Light.
Coach Light? But that's been where we've had a discussion and we've come to that agreement that that's the best way to proceed.
That's right.
But typically, we don't like to do that if we can avoid it.
Yeah, and I think one last thing I want to make a comment on is, when we started this, we were working with Clyde, and a plan was put in place, not just to address the concerns of the Jewish Federation, but how that road would come through, the property I was looking to be working on through Freedom Developer, and it would come up here, and that would be, how we would attach over to Industrial Parkway, which is where EP True was supposed to originally come across this way. And Clyde had positioned with us, a 20-year process to take out that bond, and the city could pay for it. And over the course of 20 years, the tax payments, would pay for that. Or, like you said, the developers, we could pay for it, and then it would TIF back to us, over the course of that time. In addition to potentially offering sales tax credits to attract the businesses, which we can't attract until we can get a final plat, because we can't market and
Well,
sell the property.
we've never done sales tax credits. You might be talking about a sales tax TIF through the Iowa Reinvestment Act, which I think this area somewhere up here applied for that and never got it.
Okay.
But short of that, we can't do anything on a sales tax TIF. All we've got available to us is GO bonds or issuing TIF bonds and having your increment that you guys are all going to be developing, pay the debt service on those bonds. But short of a project, short of some big projects, we have no way to pay for the road going through.
Russ, you know that over the last 16 years, there's a lot of things that Clyde said that really wasn't realistic. And I am not going to eat another one of those sandwiches.
Yeah, I know, I had to eat it.
I would just say too, Nick and his team, they are in a tough spot. We have had, just in my 2.5 years, numerous meetings. He's been very cooperative on the annexation front, but I think the dynamic here is that sometimes development happens before the infrastructure is in place to serve it. And I think that is really what some of these issues come down to. It's not that we don't want that development someday. It's not in the city today. There's not the infrastructure around it to serve. We've had a lot of conversations about once further development does happen, it's much easier to tie into water, to tie into sewer, to tie into a more orderly road network. But it's just been a tough conversation this whole way. And I don't fault them. It's been a journey for staff and the developer included, but in my estimation, that's a lot of what the consternation comes down to.
Well, and any time that you go to move a road, I mean, this is why as soon as I saw this, I'm just like, oh my God. I mean, we had issues back in the day with Linda Roble and her neighbors there. And, Linda didn't want the road on her property, right? And we tried to put it in between the two properties. And, I mean, if you've got EP True going through your land's going to be worth more. You maybe don't want to give up the land to have EP True go through, and we'd prefer that you give us that easement rather than have us buy it from you. Not that that happens all the time either. But yeah, I mean, so you're going to have winners and losers anytime you're doing any of this. And so we're going to hear from the winners, we're going to hear from the losers. There's really, we just have to come up with what is the most sound policy, try to come up with the best win-win possible and go down that path. And, I don't know how to appease everybody unless we just leave the road alone. But then again, staff is saying it doesn't make sense, it's too costly. You got environmental factors and everything else going on.
I think we need to appease our property taxpayers. And I think the best way to do that is on this map that's shown right here. If staff is saying that it's $21 million and how do you pay for this, it's only going to go up as time goes on. That's a today's figure, basically, right?
Yes, and that's just for 2 lanes of the road.
Right.
So we'd be on the hook for future widening of that road, another bridge into the future, potentially.
But there's another consideration that may be that compromise, and we have to do what makes sense in this standpoint too. But, that comprehensive plan and what the pieces all become are going to make a difference as well. So you might not have EP True going through there, but, as long as we're not taking you from multi-use high down to mixed residential, I mean, if you're losing EP True and you're going from multi-use high down to mixed residential, okay, you're getting a double whammy there. But we also need to come up with a way to have the highest and best use of the land to be able to issue that TIF debt and pay for the debt service and the bond. So it's in our best interest to also have the highest and best, land use on here possible. But that's another way to potentially try to compromise, if you will, from somebody that's losing that road coming off of their property. I'm not saying take land that was previously planned to be, mixed residential and take it to multi-use high or even industrial or light industrial. I'm just saying we need to be cognizant of the fact that we have to have a give and take here for what we're looking to do and what we think makes sense.
I agree,
when we
but
look at
again,
comp plan.
that's part 2. So
Right.
where I'm at is that we take EP True off and we go with staff's recommendation and extend
explore it.
Mills.
I'm with him. I don't have a vote, but tonight I'm with him. Lotz, what's your thought?
I find it hard to pay 21 million bucks for a bridge if it doesn't pay itself back. I think we need to look further into taking it off.
Especially if there are other options.
Yeah.
Some cases, we may not have options, but, okay, so you want to go down this road. Kevin wants to go down this road. Councilwoman,
I can see going down this road. I also agree with McKinney that, a lot is going on and at stake here without maybe what we do best is kind of a thorough assessment of how the impact is on the stakeholders.
and my hope would be through this process that we get that and that we're not set in stone.
Okay.
That if this ends up being just too much for too many people, and
Yeah.
just has too great of an impact,
Yeah.
to not only the people, but the city, that we look at potentially coming back and sticking with what we got. But,
This is what the staff is recommending.
yep.
Go ahead.
Councilman,
Yeah, I think, hey, in a vacuum where the presentation is, it's 21 million, and I appreciate that's what the presentation is, why would anybody ever do that? Why would we spend $21 million on a bridge? So if that is the presentation, I say, let's do this. But I know there's more information out there. I don't know what the opportunity cost is if we go to detached residential on the property along. Listen, I know there are homes on the north side of I-80 that are detached residential. I don't think they're probably of the value that's going to generate the property tax revenue that would otherwise be there if it were some sort of industrial or commercial area. I don't have any analysis as I sit here right now to determine whether or not that opportunity cost is higher or lower and its relation to the cost of a bridge. And so for me to sit here and say, well, we ought to do this, well, sure, in a vacuum, if it is $21 million, yada, yada, absolutely.
That's a good point.
But I don't have enough information to tell anyone where I am on this because I've really heard, one and a half sides. I've heard a little bit of, I believe, the whole staff's recommendation and all the reasons for it. I heard Nick's response to it, but I don't have enough, data to process whether or not, from a taxpayer, as I hear, perspective, what is the best deal for the taxpayer?
That's a very good point, because is it 21 million for a bridge to get taxable valuation of 600, 700 million? Or is it save money on the bridge, have the bridge go from 21 million down to 10 million, but now the change of the comprehensive plan brings you 250 million in? Right. So we kind of need, and you've always kind of been the guy that has said, what are we getting from this land based on these changes to the comprehensive plan? Can it support the infrastructure needs of the city and the services that we need to provide? So I agree with you. I think we need to look at that. I don't know, staff, if there's a way to look at what the current comprehensive plan is, the cost of the infrastructure, and figure out, here's what the cost of the infrastructure is, here's what the value of the land is based on the current comprehensive plan, and then do that same analysis based on the change of the comprehensive plan that you're looking at doing. Maybe this is too complicated, and the infrastructure investment that's there. You know what I'm saying? Are we spending 21 million on a bridge to get 500 million in taxable valuation with this current comp plan and this current alignment, versus saving 5 million on the bridge, but now the comprehensive plan changes and we lose hundreds of millions of taxable valuation as a result?
Yeah, I think certainly something like that can be created. I mean, I use the phrase back of napkin math on the estimates for what it takes valuation-wise to pay for the road. I think the same would be said for that exercise too. I mean, we really just don't know what's going to get built. And I don't want to diminish the development potential of this area, but this is not a gigantic area that we're talking about from a development perspective, from a land area. I would ask you to keep that in mind too. What we tried to outline was there are some constraints between what's already built out there, what really can't be developed because we've got a creek and a lot of topography through it. And when you take all that into consideration, it really shrinks down what can be built. But absolutely, we can certainly work on extrapolating what the difference would be on the land use map today versus what is proposed, and see how that would diminish, I guess, the value to the city.
Because, I mean, the ultimate win is to reduce the cost of the infrastructure and to increase the value of the land.
Yep.
Right? That's how that compromise, I think, is going to work, without just allowing politics to come into it and just give everybody the highest and best, even when it doesn't make sense based on environmental factors, topography, and everything else. But, okay. All right, Councilman Hudson.
Nick, can you make your comment brief?
Very brief.
Please brief,
I
yes.
think one last observation that I've made over and over is every time this has changed and a new proposal has been brought in front of us, it does seem like our land is always grayed out. And if this is the new proposed street map and we lose EP True, well, where are the roads that are going to come through our land? What is planned? And I think getting us that information also helps, maybe back to what Dean was saying, is we don't know what's being proposed because the road's gone now and this is the new street modification map. But what roads are on our land?
The local roads are going to be dictated by the development.
Right.
So it's up to you and any other developer to decide where the roads are going to go.
Yep, so there'll just be local roads. There'll be no.
That's what I would
No more
presume.
minor
Brian, is that
arterial,
correct?
That'd be right.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
That doesn't mean that, I mean, if your piece, is zoned multi-use medium, multi-use high, I mean, you're still going to be getting, commercial land prices for your land. That's where we got to be kind of sensitive on the comp plan and figure out what makes sense given what we're looking at doing. Councilman.
Oh, Brian, did you want to share something?
No, go ahead. I'm just
Okay.
looking at something on here.
Don't interrupt. So kind of where I'm at is kind of where I started the process. I'm not really feeling strongly about EP True going through. However, because I think there's a disagreement between our city staff and the folks who are out there right now on what this land will deliver in terms of future valuation. And I am absolutely, so for right now, I won't bury the lead. I'm comfortable saying go forth without this. However, Nick, and to your team, thank you for providing a lot of stuff, because if you're thinking this is not going to produce $50 million in valuation, this could produce 200, 300, 400, whatever the number is. If there's that belief, and we need EP True to go through there, I am here to listen to that proposal very seriously. I think there's a dissonance between what the city staff thinks, which I'm very thankful if you come with this proposal, I am, but at the same time, what you might think this could produce. It's not a lot of land, but if it could produce and go gangbusters, my gosh, let's talk about it. But for right now, I think if the further conversation could be helpful, but I do understand what you're saying, chicken, egg, which are we going forward? But if I'm making a recommendation right now, go forth with the understanding that we want to hear from these potential developments. And if these potential developments are here, then I think, gosh, let's talk about where EP True could go.
Mayor, if I could just ask, I'm curious, Brian or Lynn, it doesn't sound like this came from Nick's group. I'm not sure if this came from the Jewish Federation. Doesn't look like it came from the Jewish Federation. Can you share how this came about?
Leaving me up for this one.
It's been a while since you talked.
Mental rock, paper, scissors. Those two both threw dynamite.
Yeah, I think we just took a step back, and when we started talking about EP and started hearing what the bridge cost would be, we started questioning whether or not we can get the value up here to justify it. So there was no real strong anything driving us as much as it was just kind of a little bit more of that aha moment once we started hearing numbers start coming into play. And then the shifting of Mills Civic, it made a lot more sense as you start tying into Ute and making the separations work. I think the pieces just kind of fell into place that said maybe this is something we should be pursuing is not EP.
So it's city initiated, it sounds like.
Yeah, I would say it's much more city initiated. It's just does this really make sense to do?
Okay, thank you.
I can add to that.
Go ahead, Christina.
Well, you've heard Nick talk about water a lot. So bringing water usually follows the roads. And bridge construction, given all the complexity of that bridge construction, is not going to get water out there faster than probably extending a Mills or a different road. And so, I think that water is a piece of it, but it comes with the roads, so.
Well, it always comes down to what I say, and that is, it is our job as city staff and elected officials to build the best city that we possibly can. It might be the landowners, developers, or owners to be able to maximize the profits of the sale of their land. Somewhere where the two meet is where I hope we can get. So, all right, so you've got your direction. Let's go forth and conquer on this thing. And let's keep in mind, we want to hear the feedback input from the landowners and others impacted by this and try to come up with some kind of a compromise given the fact that this is definitely going to change and impact people's properties and what they're going to be able to get for their properties. Some people may not even care what they're getting for their property. They just don't want the road going through. Some people are relieved that EP True's coming off. If I'm selling the land, I want EP True going through. If I just plan on living there for the rest of my life, I don't want EP True coming anywhere near me. So,
Okay.
all right, so
Just
staff,
a
you've
little
got your.
clarification.
Yep.
Is this now, from this step forward, to kind of go to Matt's point, to go to
Yeah, let's
development and
bring it to
planning
development and planning
subcommittee and
now.
work
Yes.
through it with the landowners there?
Yes.
And then we'll come back?
Yep,
Okay.
let's do that.
Okay.
Let's do that.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Anything else, Brian, or are we adjourned? Okay.
Thank you.
We are adjourned. Thanks, everybody.